2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
I don't know how Dak Prescott didn't see this coming. San Francisco makes a statement. Hey, welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, the new morning show right here on CBS Sports Radio. And that was a thorough beatdown. The final score will tell you everything. I mean, 42-10. The Cowboys' offense, Perloff, was completely inept. And I think you have to just credit more the 49ers. Their defense and run game is unmatched right now in the NFL.
First of all, why not the Dallas defense? Why the Dallas offense? The Dallas defense got steamrolled.
Oh, I thought the Dallas defense was actually doing everything they could to keep them in the game in the first half.
It was 21-7 at halftime. Brock Purdy barely missed a pass. Christian McCaffrey ran at will.
No, that's because there was a moment when it was 14-0 when Dallas got the ball back, and it looked like, all right, if they could actually go on a drive here after a couple 3-and-outs, they could really cut into this lead. And on the first play of that drive, Tony Pollard fumbles. The 49ers recover, and then it was like off to the races. McCaffrey ends up giving back a fumble on that ensuing drive, but it was like at the 2-yard line, and Dallas couldn't even get out past the 20.
2 weeks ago, you were talking about the Cowboys' all-time defense, though.
Yeah. I still thought the defense was actually pretty good.
They took,
the offense did them no favors.
Did Micah Parsons go to San Francisco?
Well, here's the thing about Parsons. He did have a couple of good plays, but once the 49ers were able to get out to that lead, and they could just use the run game.
Because they destroyed the Cowboys' vaunted defense. I know everyone's blaming the offense here, but that was a thorough, I think both sides got destroyed by the Niners. And you're right, they should have seen it coming. There were so many things working against the Cowboys here. It's grass. They're not great on grass. It's on the road. McCarthy's not great on the road. And the Niners are fully healthy. This is a fully healthy version of the Niners. The 75% Niners beats the Cowboys all the time. How are they going to beat the 100% healthy Niners? Which, by the way, if they stay this healthy, they're going to beat everybody. So I'm not blaming the Cowboys. They're going to steamroll the entire league.
You're right. Right now, they obviously look like going away best on offense and defense. But here's the thing. This is why I really want to give some credit, actually, to the Cowboys defense. I know that's going to sound crazy. But when your offense does this, where of the 11 possessions that Dak Prescott was the quarterback before he got pulled for Cooper Rush, 9 of those 11 lasted for 3 plays or fewer. You just had your defense on the field so much yesterday, and then when the run game gets going like San Francisco's run game is able to, it just is backbreaking because they can start leaning on you, and at some point you have no defense. You're going to stop McCaffrey, you're going to stop Deebo Samuel running the ball out of the backfield on crucial third downs. Kittle had 3 touchdowns, and Ayuk had a couple big plays as well.
Do you know why they had 3 plays or less on most of them? Because they were going against the 49ers defense. You had a half-injured Terrence Steele trying to block Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
You had Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw flying around at 1,000 miles per hour. That's all a function of the Niners defense. They're going to do that to everybody, especially at home. I blame the entire team for the Cowboys, but I don't even blame them. I think they're going against an all-time team right now. So there's just no way they were going to go in there. I think the hype of the Cowboys from this, I call it a preseason, this 4-0 start. They played nobody, got expectations way, way up. I know they lost that game to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
But that was all a joke. I mean, beating the Giants and the Jets means nothing. And the Patriots, that means even less, it turns out. So I think we bought way too much into this. But guess what? Same old Cowboys. Dak Prescott hurts his finger again.
Yeah.
Different finger. It's interceptions again on the wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, before the second interception, CeeDee Lamb drops an easy pass, and he's their only receiving option. Feels like the Cowboys is the same old Cowboys.
Let's hear from Mike McCarthy. Can we, Pete? Mike McCarthy says this loss was a reality check.
It's clearly just shows where we are as a team. We're 3-2. Our consistency, even when we played really well and did some things, when you look at the 3 games that were won by, a big margin, and then the Arizona game where, the pre-snap penalties, and that showed up again tonight. So
Carpe Omnia.
Yes, what was that? Carpe Omnia was seize everything or whatever. I don't even remember now.
Oh, man, that feels like it was 10 years ago.
I mean, this was the second worst loss of Mike McCarthy's entire career. You have to go back to like a 2006 game when he was still the coach of the Green Bay Packers to find one that was worse. I mean, the fact that they were so, I don't want to say unprepared, but the fact that they got, this embarrassed. And to be fair, it was actually close in the first half. It was close before that third touchdown scored by the 49ers, the McCaffrey punch-in touchdown to make it 21-7. This was actually a tighter game, I think, than many people realize, considering the Dallas offense could do nothing, absolutely nothing. And then obviously in the third quarter, they just ran away with it.
They never stopped Brock Purdy at all. Brock Purdy was 17 for 24 for 252 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that was the only part of their off. Their run game was amazing too. I don't understand what game you saw, because I thought the Dallas defense just had no chance against the Niners from the get-go. You're like, well, the Dallas offense failed them when they were down 14-0. How do you think they got down 14-0?
Okay, but you're down 14-0. That's not insurmountable. We see leads and we see teams come back from that stuff all the time. Yes,
not against the Niners.
Well, the 49ers defense is really awesome, but I thought that the offense did not, the Cowboys offense that is, did not do the defense any favors. I mean, you have all these weapons on the 49ers offense, and I thought to hold them, which it was basically like to 21 points, but really like to 14 if you want to talk about when it was actually close.
In the second quarter?
2 scores?
In the second quarter?
Well, it took the Dallas offense, Perloff, a quarter and a half to get a first down. They had no help from the offensive side. Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, I mean, the funny thing, before the string of interceptions, 3 possessions in a row, Dak actually played okay. I mean, he was putting it on his receivers. He didn't have a lot of open receivers.
No,
he does not have a lot of options. Brandon Cooks has not been what we thought he was going to be. I have an uncomfortable truth for you, Maggie.
What's that?
You're not going to like it.
My Super Bowl pick of the Dallas Cowboys is
Nope.
not looking great.
Well,
I could have told you that.
That might be true.
We'll do what we got wrong later in the
It's a long
show.
season.
Yeah.
There is an MVP candidate in San Francisco, and it is not Christian McCaffrey. It is not Fred Warner or Nick Bosa. It is Brock Purdy.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
What?
You're better than this. You're better than this.
Listen, this is not my opinion. This is just telling you what's going to happen. And I know you're not going to like it. Brock Purdy is going to be a strong candidate, possibly win the NFL Most Valuable Player.
Okay, I'm not an anti-Brock Purdy person. You can completely win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. He has changed every opinion about him as Mr. Irrelevant. He's a great player. But let's be honest here. he's not the MVP. He has an unbelievable run game, and he's asked to make like 4 good throws a game. Now, granted, they're pushing the ball downfield a lot more than they were, but look at what happens like on, what was it? I think the 3rd drive of the game or the 2nd drive of the game. Purdy had a bad throw on 1st down, so they just ran it. At times, Kyle Shanahan, if he like messes up or does something like takes the 1 sack, I guess he took, if he has any even small falter, Kyle Shanahan just goes straight back to the run game. And he can do it with McCaffrey and then Deebo Samuel come out of the backfield. It's really just like the downfield throws to Ayuk and the 1 or 2 to Kittle that were awesome and backbreakers for Dallas. But they're not asking Purdy to do stuff that's MVP caliber.
Yeah, but none of that means anything. If at the end of the season he has 35 touchdowns and 3 picks and has a 75% completion percentage, they're going to give him the MVP.
And
because that's how the MVP works. First of all, look at San Francisco. Everything you said about Purdy, you could apply to Joe Montana back in the day. He had Jerry Rice and Roger Craig and the best line and the best coach, and he won MVPs. That's how it works. Somebody has to get all the credit, and that's always the quarterback.
Wait, do you really think that Brock Purdy's the same as Joe Montana?
I mean, you've seen his stats blow. Yes, I think it's very similar to Joe Montana. I'm not saying that he's Joe Montana legacy-wise, but right now, I think this is an all-time team. I think they were going to go 15-2 or 16-1 or 17-0, unless there are major injuries. I think they're probably going to win the Super Bowl. And yes, I think Brock Purdy is going to win MVP. I'd bet him. Well, first of all, it's a 3-way race. It's Tua, Jared Goff, and Brock Purdy. What does that say about America?
That is something.
Isn't it unbelievable? Yeah. Listen, can he hold off Jared Goff? I don't know. But
that's the big question.
Yes. No, I think Brock Purdy, have you seen any of these statistical comparisons with Purdy and Montana and Young? Purdy's blowing them all away. But it's a modern era passing. If he keeps this up, you're not going to be able to stop the Purdy train. I mean, you could give it to McCaffrey as well. I think they might be both in the top 5.
Well, you have, like, the reason why I feel like Purdy isn't going to win the MVP is because I'm watching and I'm seeing what he's doing, which is, yes, he is great point guard and point guard plus.
Totally.
But that's, like, not to me, that doesn't mean you're the most valuable person in the league. That doesn't mean you're the best quarterback in the league. It's kind of the same thing on the defense, where you have like Fred Warner playing out of his mind, but you also have Bosa. It's like, who are you going to give defensive? I know
Bosa won Defensive
won
Player of the Year,
but like Fred Warner probably should get some votes. Like, if he keeps playing like this, like the team kind of cannibalizes itself. Like, who should you really give the award to?
Well, here's the thing. Right now, it's Purdy and McCaffrey. I'm assuming McCaffrey gets hurt at some point, and Purdy takes all the votes.
But let's see what he looks like when McCaffrey gets hurt. Because, yes, you still have Deebo Samuel, who's awesome, and you still have, Brandon Ayuk, but he gets hurt every once in a while. I mean, Kittle hadn't caught a touchdown pass until last night when he went off.
I was doing a little math. I think the record for Pro Bowlers is 12. The Niners are going to blow that out of the water.
Probably.
They have 10 definites. Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, who makes it every year, Trent Williams. Then on defense, Bosa, Warner, Greenlaw, Hufanga, Hargrave, definites. Then Deebo, Ayuk, Ward, Armstead. They could have 16 Pro Bowlers. I mean, the whole team is a pro, which actually adds to your point that Purdy is a good point guard, but that's who you give the MVP to. That's who gets all the credit, the point guard.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We say good morning to all of our CBS Sports Radio affiliates coast to coast. We appreciate you so much. If you want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can do that. Of course, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app is crystal clear. Also, SiriusXM channel 158. So we want to hear from you. Is Brock Purdy the MVP of the league right now? Guys, gals, come on. Here's Brock Purdy. Let's hear from him. Pete says the 49ers just clicking on all cylinders right now.
But, right now, it feels like everyone's just on a mission, man. Like the mindset is right where it needs to. Everyone's so detailed in what they do. The play calls are great. So it's like all I got to do is go out there, do my job, and that's it, and just play ball. So obviously we feel good where we're at, but there's still areas we can still get better at.
I'd like to know what are those areas they can get better at. Looks like they're doing pretty well. I don't know exactly where they can get much better, but
he did have 7 incompletions. Got to cut that down.
Seriously, dude. 855-212-4CBS. And then on the flip side of this for the Dallas Cowboys. Exposed? I mean, Jerry Jones said that the NFC is going to run through San Francisco. Smart thing that Jerry said.
Correct.
Turns out Jerry knows a little football.
Well, all right. For now, let's not count Philadelphia out of the picture yet.
Losing.
Were the Cowboys exposed last night? I mean, clearly the gap between the Cowboys and the 49ers a little bit deeper and wider than we may have thought. But I'm not putting this on the Cowboys defense. I know 42 points. It looks like it's on the defense. The offense could not give them a breather, could not give them a break. Had almost no sustained drives outside of the 11-play touchdown to Kevontae Turpin. That was a beautiful throw, but the degree of difficulty on that touchdown was so much higher than anything that the 49ers had to do last night. Felt like they were almost lucky to score it.
Yeah, I think it was a total team loss, but honestly, it's the function of the 49ers. The Cowboys are who they are. They're going to be 12-5, and they're going to lose in the second round, Maggie. They're the same team. Everyone also is pointing to Kellen Moore being gone. Like, why they get rid of Kellen Moore, who had over 30 points a game, to go to Mike McCarthy? Just give them a break. Let them play at home and different teams. This is a fully stacked Niners team is not who you judge the Cowboys on.
The Cowboys' last 3 games against the 49ers, they scored 12 points, they scored 17 points, and last night, 10 points.
Yeah, so does everybody else.
That's not going to get it done.
Every other team, what did the Steelers do against the Niners defense? They got demolished.
Yeah, I know, but the Steelers' offense needed like a total prayer of a drive yesterday to get past the Ravens. I mean, the Steelers' offense is definitely should not be in the same category as what the Cowboys are doing. And the defense, though, amazing. We want to hear from you. 855-2124-CBS. So on the 49ers side, is Brock Purdy the MVP? On the Dallas side, who you blaming for the loss? I'd put this on Mike McCarthy and the offense 100%, not on the defense. 855-2124-CBS. Just getting going here, starting on this Monday. A lot more to do, including a recap from a crazy, crazy Sunday in the NFL. So much to do. Stay with us. It's Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie is not comfortable with the idea of Brock Purdy, the Niners quarterback, winning the MVP, but I say right now he is the front runner. And Maggie
He just happens to be the quarterback for a team that's got a gazillion weapons. That doesn't make you the MVP.
Do you remember Matt Ryan with Kyle Shanahan in 2016? You can win an MVP in that formula. Also, Maggie thinks last night was on the offense, not the entire team of the Dallas Cowboys. Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I'm glad you're distracted because there were some other bad things that happened to you this weekend as a Buffalo Bills fan.
I mean, do you want to just get this out of the way now, or you want to save it?
It feels like a long time ago because it was 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it was.
The Bills sort of fell apart against the Jags. That doesn't count. It's England. Who cares? Whatever happens in England stays in England. That has nothing to do with the rest of the Bills season.
It definitely counts.
Well, the injuries do, but
yes, they left with more players than they're coming back with, and now you have another All-Pro member of the defense for the Bills, Matt Milano, who looks like he's going to be out for the season. At the very least, he's got a fractured leg. At the most, it's a fractured leg and maybe a completely torn up knee. I mean,
but did you ever think Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, and Von Miller were going to stay healthy?
I didn't, but season ending. Like, okay, maybe a guy has to miss 3 games and comes back, or maybe they miss a month and come back. I mean, I never thought season ending, and we'll see what happens with Von Miller, who couldn't even finish the game, his first game back off the PUP list, why he was even playing in that game in Tottenham, where the turf is maybe a little questionable, makes no sense to me at all. But, Perloff, I called this the day the schedule came out. I said, this is unfair. The Jacksonville gets to stay in England for 2 straight weeks. They're going to be totally acclimated, and they were. And the first half, Buffalo's offense is totally sleepwalking. They apparently flew to England on Friday. I don't even know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. Nobody can get this body clock thing right, except I know one thing's for sure. When you spend a week and a half in England, you're going to have a better shot at being adjusted than if you are there for 48 hours.
You know, I do remember you complaining in May when the schedule came out.
I did.
But I don't remember you saying anything last week after the Bills blew out the Dolphins 48-20. I felt like you were kind of feeling your Bills.
Well, no, I was still worried about it. I was still worried about Von Miller. I'm always worried about them. But
Well, you should. He's 34 years old, coming off an ACL tear. Tre'Davious White, same thing this year. That you had to know these injuries were coming, and then the Bills had to plan for these. They were not counting on White, were they?
I think they definitely were. I mean, my thought is this. I cannot remember a team that ever lost the amount of all-pros on defense that the Bills appear to have lost so far, which is 2, and we'll see what happens with Miller, and can still be a Super Bowl contender.
But not current All-Pros.
Matt Milano was an All-Pro last year.
Right, but Von Miller and Tre'Davious White were not.
Okay, but they're still high-level defensive players.
Are they?
I think they are, yes.
I don't know. I saw a lot when White got hurt about how hard it was for him to come back in the first place. I think that's different to lose Von Miller at 34. It's not like you were losing a 26-year-old Von Miller.
No, but you saw Von Miller last year. He was really effective for them last year, and they felt it when he got injured and couldn't play for the rest.
But there's a reason they have him, because he's 34 years old, and everyone moved on from him.
They gave him $50 million.
I know, that was a mistake.
Is the reason
you
they
can't,
have him.
You're taking a risk when you take older players.
It's true. And I thought that the pass rush was going to hold up. And I actually thought the Bills' defense, they gave up a lot of yards, but they were good in the red zone. I mean, Jacksonville was up like 11-7, I guess, at halftime, I believe, 11-8 at halftime. I can't remember.
They should have been up.
They should have been up
a lot more.
Exactly. So I thought the defense played admirably. You got guys, taking in oxygen like they're playing at Mile High Stadium because they were so gassed. Perloff, I don't think I've ever seen this before in my entire life. Have you ever heard of a team going on a 17-play drive and not scoring?
Probably, yeah.
That was Jacksonville. 17 plays, and they didn't score.
How about, by the way, Josh Allen, when the game was out of hand at the end, and he was trying to bring them back, whatever that was make the whole offense that. They did a 2-minute drill where they came down the field in 15 seconds.
Yes.
And Josh Allen looked like Superman.
I know, but that's what you always say. I think the Jacksonville defense basically, they thought it was one.
But Allen uncorked 2 throws that were insane. You know that joke about making the whole plane out of the black box?
Yeah, right.
Make the whole Bills offense out of Josh Allen just throwing it 60 yards downfield like a missile.
No, I think it was the supportive friend that Perloff is with a tweet to me yesterday. Injuries on defense and Josh Allen running is the only offense. Boy, the Bills are back. Thank you,
The Bills
sir.
are back, baby.
Thank you for that. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4CBS. Let's go to Michael's in the Bay Area, wants to talk about the 49ers beat down of the Cowboys last night. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Maggie. Thank you for taking my call. I'm just calling. You said it's all on the offense. I think it was just a dismantle of the whole team from the opening whistle to the end of the game. They had no chance. And it's the same story with the Cowboys every single year. They do well at the beginning of the year, and everybody jumps on board and gives them all the credit that they don't deserve. They really don't, because they got exposed last night.
They did get exposed last night, Michael, but I still think, I know they gave up 42 points, and this is going to sound crazy, and thank you for the phone call. I still thought the defense actually kept them in the game in the first half. I mean, they
let up 21 points.
They had no help. The offensive side, the Dallas offense couldn't get a first down.
They couldn't stop the Niners at all. I mean, 21, if you double that, it's 42. I mean, I understand the second half was about Dak's interceptions, but there was a play where DeMarcus Lawrence was on the edge with Christian McCaffrey, and McCaffrey blocked him. DeMarcus Lawrence must have fallen 20 feet behind him. McCaffrey's a running back. No, I just think that they got outmanned, out-physicaled at every single spot on both sides of the ball.
Phil is in Buffalo. He's got a thought on the Bills game. Hey, Phil, how are you?
Oh, great. It was a great game.
No, it wasn't.
Milano going down, that hurt me, okay? But on the offense, 29 yards rushing, where's Allen underneath center? And get the 2 tight ends in there.
I know. Well, at one point, Dalton Kincaid, Phil, got hurt. Thank you for the phone call. And you know about Josh Allen's love affair with Dawson Knox, and he loves to go to him, but, couldn't connect on a couple of what looked like, to me, on the couch 5,000 miles away, looked like some easy throws.
Okay. That's just delusion to put any of that. Phil is 100% right. That team cannot run at all.
I know.
And they were supposed to fix this year, and everybody thought earlier in the year they had some success running. Yesterday was a disaster.
Week.
Yesterday was a disaster running the ball.
Well, they got behind. It wasn't by much, but it felt like a lot, and it fell into that Allen kind of hero ball again, and they completely got thrown off their mark. I mean, I think you just have to credit Jacksonville here, and I think Milano getting carted off the field, that was devastating for them.
But how can you credit Jacksonville when this feels like last year's Buffalo team where they cannot run the ball? It feels like something that is really part of Buffalo's DNA. This offense cannot run the ball.
They won't commit to it. They will not commit to running the football. And I think that, Jacksonville's defense, that defensive front, was actually pretty stout. I think that it was James Cook wasn't able to get anything going.
Okay, I see that as Buffalo's problem more than Jacksonville being stout. I don't know who. First of all, Jacksonville, the competition committee has to look at this 2 weeks in a row in London. It's ridiculous.
Thank you.
No, I'm 100% with you. Everyone's bothered by the Eagles' brotherly shove. The real problem is Jacksonville being in London.
We'll get to the brotherly shove.
And I think, you did pick the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. Probably not feeling great about that. But Jacksonville probably galvanized themselves in this London. I think they're going to come out like a house on fire the rest of the year because they did that last year. They go to London for 2 weeks and it helps them. Give them credit. Like this franchise said, we'll go to London, and now they're using it to their advantage.
Yeah, 2-0 in London, and what was there? They're like 1-2 back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Back here in the United States, they got such a big, assist there. I don't know about the competition committee. I don't know. We need to get them involved. Quickly, Gary is in Jacksonville. Hey, Gary. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. I think that's a cop-out. The Dolphins played 3 out of the first 4 on the road. Had to play third game on the road against Buffalo. I didn't hear anybody complaining that was unfair to the Dolphins. I
know, but it's the same time zone.
They scored 7 points in the first half. It's a week-to-week league, guys.
Yep.
Last week, Josh Allen was the greatest thing since sliced bread. He does this every year. He puts up a great game. Then he puts up a stinker. You can't rely on that guy because in the biggest moments, Josh Allen disappears.
Well, not all the time, Gary, but yes, that criticism could be there for Josh Allen. I mean, I got to defend him a little bit. There are a lot of moments where he comes up clutch, but the offense was totally out of sync. Can I bring up 2 other things? You're down by 5 after you score a touchdown and you decide to kick the extra point. Like, what were you doing, the metric system over there? Why wouldn't Sean McDermott go for 2? I didn't understand that. And I'm not going to be this person. Like, you guys will get to know me here on the morning show. I'm not this person, but I'm going to be this person today. Officiating crew, get it together. So inconsistent and terrible. So inconsistent. Jordan Poyer basically inadvertently puts his shoulder to a helmet of a Jacksonville receiver, and they call it. Then on the next play, you got Epinesa tackles Trevor Lawrence by the throat. No call. Like, be consistent with this.
Maggie, you got to be a pro here and put this loss behind you. That game did not count at all. Now, the Milano injury is a big deal.
That's huge.
But that game, that means nothing.
It ruins the season. Let's welcome in Andrew Bogusch, has got some headlines for us. Good morning, Bogues.
Good morning. So I am new here. Isn't there some big white marker board that needs to be updated post?
Maggie's meltdown.
Yeah, my meltdown board. You're right. Got to get that.
Is there an excuses board too? Because there's been a lot of those.
They're not excuses. Around. They're reasons.
No, yeah. I don't. The time thing is their fault. They shouldn't have gone on Friday. They could have gone on a Wednesday and been acclimated. That's their fault, not London's fault.
Silly. Although I feel like you're right, but I feel like there's been teams who have gone, like the Ravens apparently are leaving like tomorrow to go to London.
Right.
And they have a game this weekend. I think we've seen it both ways where teams go late in the week and they get killed, and they go early in the week and they get killed.
Teams have definitely started to go later because it really isn't that big of a deal. You get there, it's the first day is crappy. You're up for 20 hours with a time change, but you get one night's sleep, and you should be okay. So teams have slowly crept deeper into the week, but Friday seems too late.
I know, they basically came in on a red eye and just went to the field.
So Baltimore's going Tuesday, you said?
Yeah.
There's a lot of time to do tourist stuff. It's very distracting. There's museums everywhere there. Fish and chips.
Yeah, I
worry about my team. Yeah, you're going to see video of the Ravens on the Eye of London, and there's a lot of distractions over there if you go Tuesday.
Your update is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. It was the game we were all waiting for, and it was barely a game. The Niners hammered the Cowboys 42-10 on Sunday Night Football. Brock Purdy threw 4 touchdown passes, 3 of them to George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey scored for the 14th consecutive game. Here's the QB.
Feels like everyone's just on a mission, man. Like the mindset is right where it needs to. Everyone's so detailed in what they do. The play calls are great. So it's like all I got to do is go out there, do my job, and that's it, and just play ball.
And then there's the Niner D. They held Dallas to 197 yards, 8 first downs only. They took the ball away 4 times, including 3 picks of Dak Prescott. Linebacker Fred Warner had one of those. He forced a fumble. He had a sack. The Niners 5-0. They have won their last 15 regular season games. The Eagles have won 22 of their last 23 in the regular season after holding off the Rams in L.A. 23-14. The Chief win streak is 4 after a 27-20 win in Minnesota. And the Dolphins flexed again in a 31-16 decision over the Giants. Miami gaining 524 yards, giving them 2,568, the most ever through the first 5 games of a season.
Wait, worst defense that looks like it's not caring more. Denver Broncos, New York Giants.
Oh, Denver Broncos are barely trying at all.
New York Giants defense was
I think they're
pretty
just,
much a no-show yesterday.
I think the Giants
even though they
are
got
just bad. The Broncos don't care at all. That side of the ball is like, you know what? We're getting paid. We have no coach here. I don't know what's going on with Denver.
If Sean Payton is the right coach.
To give up 23 points, I said this to you on the call, to give up 23 points to the Jets offense is way worse than giving up 70 to the Dolphins. I mean, they made Zach Wilson look like a competent quarterback. I would fire everybody in Denver. Just trade the whole defense, fire the defensive coordinator today. That team is given up. Being said,
Ryan Hickey, you are on the phone. You're going to be spinning plates all this morning. Can you please put this as a poll question? What's worse, giving up 23 points to the Jets or 70 to the Dolphins?
I mean, here's the thing. The Dolphins are setting this record, but they beat the Broncos and the Giants, who are the worst 2 defenses in the league. So do we know that Miami's that good? I hate to be that guy who judges everybody by who they beat, but isn't this a little bit of a facade?
No, it's the same thing we're saying about the Cowboys. Like, you beat up on the Giants and Jets, and now you face the 49ers.
So that was totally a fake.
How
so
good
is this
are
Dolphins a fraud too?
Well,
I mean, is Devon Achane the next Marshall Faulk? Probably, but I'm not so sure that this all counts.
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like I believe the Dolphins still are doing like really innovative things.
Well, they're just faster than any team in the history of the sport.
That's true.
I mean, they're so fast. Not to scare you, Maggie, as a Bills fan.
They already beat them. Yeah. That's not my biggest worry right now. Yes, Els. What else you got, folks?
We got Jamar Chase. Remember a week ago when he said he was always bleeping open? Joe Burrow listened and threw it to him 19 times yesterday in Arizona.
Burrow in the gun. He catches at the 8. He fakes to Mixon. Now rolling to the right. Backpedaling to the 13. Throws. Caught! Jamar Chase on the back line of the end zone with his 3rd touchdown catch as he sets a new Bengals record with his 14th catch of the game.
That's from Bengals Radio. Chase ended up with a team record 15 catches for a career-high 192 with 3 scores in a 34-20 win in Arizona.
I think I could be that kind of color guy, by the way. Just go, ho, ho. That's my favorite kind of color guy.
Giggling in the background?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, a lot of guys have made millions and millions of dollars. What else is Romo doing?
Right. I think actually you're
here we go, Jim. This is the game. It's like it's the first quarter.
I'm definitely the Scott Zolak as Dave Lapham's school of hometown cheering. Ho! Whoa!
Could you do the anger though that Zolak has sometimes? And some when they get really angry at the team for being bad, could you go that way too?
Oh, absolutely. Be non-professional.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, good. By the way, the Bengals had 3 offensive touchdowns total going into that game yesterday, and Chase caught 3 by himself. Georgia gains 15 first-place votes, strengthening its hold on number 1 in the AP College Football Top 25. Michigan still second, with Ohio State and Florida State moving up a spot each behind them. Oklahoma jumps 7 spots to number 5 after beating Texas. This used to be fun for Astros fans.
1-1, Correa into center field. This will pad the Minnesota lead. Taylor is in. Solano will come home. And Carlos Correa hurting his old club. 2 more come home. It's 5-0 Minnesota.
Correa 3 hits, 3 RBI, while Pablo Lopez tossed 7 shutout innings. Their Twins getting even with the Astros in Game 2 in Houston, 6-2. The Rangers, meanwhile, outslugged the O's in Baltimore 11-8 for a 2-0 lead going back to Texas. The NLDS back on the field today. USA Basketball is reportedly going hard after Drew Holiday for the Olympics in Paris next summer. Management believes Holiday was their second most important player in the last Olympics behind Kevin Durant. And the Aces began the WNBA Finals with a 99-82 win over the Liberty in Vegas. Guys, back to you.
Wow. I mean, if Team USA gets Drew Holiday, then I'm definitely going to watch.
Why are we talking this much about an Olympics that doesn't happen for another year?
I'll tell you
cares?
why. Because of LeBron. Because LeBron is rallying the troops and then talking about football all weekend.
Yeah, LeBron's also, making his football picks.
He's a full-time NFL analyst now, and it's great.
So
I want my damn respect, too.
He's a full-time NFL analyst / the new Jerry Colangelo, like the head of USA Basketball. What about the Lakers?
And he was in Vegas for the WNBA game yesterday, I think.
So LeBron, his Olympic team has 36 members on it right now, by the way, too.
So there, I think, is the developing story, because in the Holiday write-up, it said that a lot of the guys who say they want to play are not going to get invited. That, LeBron and Curry obviously are going to be in, and then Embiid, and now apparently Holiday.
This does not answer my question. Who cares? Why are we talking about this in 2023 when it's not until 2024?
We are on the verge of watching a 38-year-old or 40-year-old LeBron get killed in the Olympics, and it's going to be unbelievably interesting.
Nobody cares.
Dude, if they lose, you don't think people are going to care?
He's trying to win a title with the Lakers. Are we just moving the eye off the prize here? The Olympics is great. The Olympics is awesome. It's 15th down the list on accomplishments LeBron James should be looking at.
Yeah, there's just so many questions you can ask these guys in their preseason availability, and this is still an NBA question because of the stupid World Cup thing in the summer. So that's why it keeps coming up. It's being asked of them. They answer. Somebody writes about it. And then I need a story to close an update so it makes it onto the show.
Could have crows with Brock Purdy's parents apparently own a hot tub store. We like that one.
Yeah, and I feel like they'd be a fun time in a hot tub, too. No, that sounds way wrong.
Yeah, it did.
You want to hang out with Brock Purdy's parents in a hot tub? What?
Definitely, by the way.
Just sharing stories about Mr. Purdy's minor league baseball days?
Yeah. Talk about Chuba and why he can't get on the field. And there's a lot to go on with the Purdys. They did get a lot of time last night, and I thought I'd seen them before. They seem fascinating. I think there's a huge backstory there with Mr. Purdy.
Why? Because he's selling hot tubs, or because
selling hot tubs in Arizona? Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
I mean, Chris Collinsworth kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Who needs a hot tub in Arizona?
Wow.
But maybe they're the only game in town. And hey, we're going to be the only hot tub people. So if you want one, you've got to come to us.
I feel like there might be some interesting stories about the Purdy's hot tub over the years.
What do you think was going on in the Purdy's hot tub?
I don't know. I don't know. They not only have an MVP son, they have an all-time party house, from what I hear. No, I'm just kidding. I made that up. But
do you want to do color of the hot tub parties? Just in the back going,
Well, when you heard they had a hot tub,
with a hot tub party.
When you heard they had a hot tub company in Mesa, Arizona, did anyone else think, "Ooh, this sounds like a '70s party house"?
No, yeah, it was when I'm thinking about a hot tub in a Mesa, Arizona, I'm just there's a lot of VD probably going on in that hot tub. Yeah. What's swimming around in those waters? Not with the Purdys. I'm just.
By the way, Brock Purdy's family, I think, is one of the most straight-laced families of all time. I think Brock Purdy is up to nothing.
No, but you're right. There's got to be a little something under the surface if you're selling hot tubs. It's that's where you find wink and a nod, where's the real party at, hot tub guy?
Yeah. I met Brock Purdy at last year's Super Bowl.
You're not selling Bibles is what I'm saying, okay?
I met Purdy at last year's Super Bowl. He is a Boy Scout. I mean, he looks like he's 17 years old, and he is going to run for student government president. He's got a Wally Cleaver. What's that, the kid on Leave It to Beaver who pretended he was really nice and was really not nice?
I never watched Leave It to Beaver.
You young people have no idea. Bellotti, you know. What's the kid?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tony Dow played him.
Yeah. Okay.
You know the real person's name?
Right. So he was fake nice. Purdy looks like the nicest sort of homecoming king you'll ever see.
No, they're all
Wally
killers.
Cleaver?
So
they're all killers behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So you think Purdy listens to the don't drink in the hot tub rules and he gets out after 5 minutes because it's too hot?
Yeah. No glass in the hot tub.
I'll bet you Brock Purdy does not party at all.
Wow. That'd be disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Listen, there's a reason why he got to where he got to, right? It was a 4-year starter at Iowa State. Yeah. You can't be partying your face off and then still playing at a high level unless you're like Johnny Manziel. And then you see what happened. Yeah. Well, Favre
Joe
was
Namath.
a one of one. And Namath was playing in the 60s. It was
Okay.
different back then. Everyone was smoking
Everybody
Marlboros at
was
halftime.
hungover.
Yeah, right. Plumbers and firemen. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Thank you, Andrew Bogish. Coming up, the one thing no one is talking about yet when it comes to the Cowboys and the 49ers. We've got that for you and a lot more to get to on this very busy Monday. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Top 10 moments
minutes remaining.
from Andrew Perloff's Skyline Chili Bet Payoff. Number 10.
With the cheese, he is very delicately breaking the film.
Number 9.
There is juice cascading off his nose.
It's good.
Number 8.
All the way in. Oh, we have spaghetti. He has found the pasta.
Number 7.
Another big bite. Oh, that's a lot of pasta.
You're really getting in there.
Number 6.
Why I didn't.
There
we go.
Slurping sound.
Good slurping.
Number 5.
Oh,
Number 4.
Oh, my God.
that was a full open mouth tongue scoop of pasta. This
Number
is
3.
friendship. Oh, it's like he's a 4-year-old.
Number 2.
Kissing a bowl of chili anymore. Oh, our first rip of pasta.
And the number 1 moment from Andrew Perloff's Skyline
Now we're
Chili
making
Bet Payoff.
noises as we gobble up. Oh, no, it's over.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. I've been working on punching that up since Rob Corjoy told me my AutoZone read was weak. That was, professional actor. That was kind of cool. But
and he was in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yes.
Famously.
And he's, by the way, a Patriots fan.
Big
one of the many
fan.
Patriots, so he's probably not feeling good right now. But I know who's not. I have a lot of friends who are Cowboys fans, too. And they are not as depressed as I think people would think, because I think a lot of them might have seen this coming.
Well, they saw it coming. The Cowboys as a team apparently did not see this coming. And anytime you have guys after the game saying, we didn't see it coming, I think that is, whether it's direct or indirect, that is a reflection on the head coach. Because to say like, we weren't ready for this, I mean, that's the head coach's job, isn't it? To make sure that you're ready for everything. Can we hear from Dak Prescott, please? Pete admits that the Cowboys did get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, I guess that's a good word in a sense. Didn't see it coming. As you said, put everything into this and got punched in the mouth. Called a couple of weeks ago humbling against Arizona. But this may be the most humbling game I've ever been a part of. Felt good about the preparation, felt good about everything, honestly, coming into this game, matchups, and they beat us in every aspect.
I mean, Dak, 6 of the 7 drives in the first half went 3 plays or less. 3 points scored in the second half before he gets pulled. Field goal, then interception, interception, interception. Dak yanked for Cooper Rush after the 49ers called off the dogs and pulled Purdy out of the game.
Yeah, I thought Dak looked okay in the first half. I think he stayed back in the pocket. He didn't see a lot of open guys, but when he did throw in the first half, it was pretty accurate. There were definitely drops. I thought he did the best he could. Listen, you're going against the Niners. You're not going to have time. It's funny, if you look at the picks, the first pick, he threw a long bomb that got picked. But he was under pressure. Somebody missed Hufanga, and he came in right at him. Then the second pick hit his receiver in the hands, per usual. Then the third pick, I have no idea what happened. At that point, he just was desperate. So it was bad. It's a 3-pick game, and maybe I'm a Dak apologist, but I thought in the first half against the best defense in the league, he did not look bad, in my opinion, at all.
Can't go that far. I think that you have got a $40 million quarterback. I know you're going up against a great defense, but, I mean, they couldn't get anything going. And I think where it really turned, or not turned, but like where it got really deflating for the Cowboys was after the 49ers go up 14-0, and then you get the ball back, and you're like, all right, now we can maybe try to go on a drive here. And the first play of the drive, Tony Pollard fumbles. The fumble's like going out of bounds, and the 49ers get it back on a short field.
And how is that Dak's fault?
No, that's not Dak's fault, but it's just like it got deflated from there. It was like, man, we can't do anything right today.
It's so funny to me, though, that you don't put any of that on the defense. Didn't you notice that the Niners were kind of moving the ball at will?
No, I do, but I thought that the defense did an admirable job considering they got no breathers, no breaks, and the offense, never let them have 5 minutes to catch their breath. I mean, I remember doing a show a long time ago with Bart Scott, the linebacker, played 11 years in the league, and he said the key to the best defense is to have a good offense. Like, let us be off the field for a little bit and be able to regroup just a hair, and that was not possible last night for the Dallas defense. And then once the 49ers get a lead, then Micah Parsons can't do Micah Parsons stuff because you are just running the ball and there's no way like Purdy's not really dropping back to pass that ball.
There was no Micah Parsons stuff last night. That was not happening. The Niners had an answer for Parsons on every play. As Collinsworth said, the story of the game was the way the Niners were blocking the Dallas front. They just demolished them.
Yep.
And it makes me think that whole Dallas defense is a bit of a fraud.
Yeah, I don't put it on the Cowboys. Do you? 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I don't put it on the defense. I thought the offense was, whether that's a function of the 49ers just being suffocating, they could not find anything. They can't, the other thing too, I think that Dak is and the Cowboys offense, they need another receiver.
Oh yeah. Cooks has not done what they thought he would do.
Which is crazy
And
because
their tight ends are worse too.
With Cooks, with Gallup, with Turpin, with CeeDee Lamb, obviously, but they're always going to try to shut down the number one option. Like, they're definitely short a guy.
And also, Tony Pollard doesn't scare me at all anymore.
I know.
Something happened there. He broke his leg last year. Maybe that's it. But all of a sudden, this explosive Tony Pollard seems like a distant memory.
Let's go to Hung. He's in Harrisburg. Good morning, Hung. How are you?
Good morning, Maggie. Thanks for taking my call again.
You got it.
Remember last year I told you we talked about Belichick.
Yep.
The most overrated team coach of all time. I compare him like Phil Jackson with no Jordan or Kobe. He ain't nobody. Actually, Brady made him famous. Without Brady, he's trash.
You know what, Hung? It's a topic we're going to get to in just a moment. Bill Belichick, I never thought I'd see the day, and people like Hung and Perloff, you guys were right. I never thought I'd see the day where it would look this bad for a Belichick team. Back-to-back weeks where he's handed the worst losses of his career, and Hung is right. Without Brady, Bill Belichick, his winning percentage is like 44%, like right nestled around Chip Kelly.
Yeah. I'm not sure Brady could save this team either. There have been so many personnel mistakes. But Mac Jones is also a big part of this problem. He picked wrong there.
Without a doubt. There's so much to get into. We will talk about Bill Belichick and his future. 855-212-4CBS if you want to weigh in. Maggie and Perloff here. We'll get into Belichick. Is this it for a legendary head coach? Just brutal loss yesterday to the visiting Saints. Get into that in a minute. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, you, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's destined to get knocked out by Jake Paul. She's destined to film it. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Cowboys roughed up in the Bay Area last night. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff here on CBS Sports Radio. Brock Purdy, now MVP frontrunner, according to Peter King, Football Morning in America. I mean, this whole team is so good for the 49ers. I don't know how. I guess just because we're obsessed with quarterbacks and because they touch the ball in every offensive play, you give it to Purdy. But they have so many incredible weapons. To me, like, the run game and the defense is the thing about the 49ers that makes them so special. It's not because their quarterback's going above and beyond.
Well, last night it was Purdy. I mean, he went against the best defense in the league and just absolutely picked them apart.
Well, the 49ers are probably the best defense in the league. I mean, I think the Cowboys are still a good defense, even though they gave up 42 points last night. They are still a good defense. They got no help from their offense, who was going 3 and out like it was their job. But for Purdy, it's like he's good, but he's not making these spectacular wow throws. He makes like 4 good throws a game. And then you have Christian McCaffrey, you have Ayuk, and you have Deebo Samuel. And you have like this very balanced offense where Kittle finally breaks out for touchdowns last night. Like, how can you pick an MVP on the 49ers?
I think you have the draft bias. If he was the number 1 overall pick and doing this, you'd be like, oh, that's the MVP. But the fact that he's Mr. Irrelevant, I think you're underestimating what he's doing.
Well, it's part of his story. I don't think that's a bias. I think that's a plus for him. Like, he's shown that it didn't matter where he got chosen, but look at what he's actually asked to do. It's not, he moves the ball downfield, but it's not explosive play after explosive play.
I mean, I think if you look at the numbers, he has a lot of 20-plus yard plays. A lot of that is running after the catch, but also the last 2 games, he's been very accurate down the field. I don't know. He looks almost perfect to me.
He is almost perfect, but if you didn't have that run game, and I know you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but if you didn't have that dynamic run game where it's not just about McCaffrey, the fact that Deebo's able to do what he does, which is take these end arounds and get 8 yards on it, you'll notice with Kyle Shanahan, anytime Purdy even has like a half of a screw up, they call 3 straight run plays. It's like they just have that ability. And, you know, Purdy's excellent. Like, they can win a Super Bowl with Purdy, of course, but MVP to me is a bit far.
I mean, look at his numbers. He's completing 73% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, 0 picks. Already he's up to almost 1,300 yards. It's going to be impossible. If this continues, it's going to be him and Tua really battling it out. If he has a nearly perfect season and the team is nearly perfect, he's got to win MVP. It reminds me a little bit of Matt Ryan under Kyle Shanahan in 2016. Like everything is cooking. And the amazing thing about them, I don't think it's a run game or Purdy. They can beat you in 9 different ways.
I know.
And there's so many ways. And I don't think it's a run game really, because I think the pass game is even more deadly because you have Ayuk, you have Debo, you have McCaffrey and Kittle. The pass game, who do you stop? If you're
And Juszczyk, don't forget about him. He's always good for a couple of catches a game.
Say you want to take out the best weapon, you have no chance. You think that'd be McCaffrey, but then like last night they hit you with Kittle.
It's that positionless football, you know, and that's where the 49ers evolved this thing past everyone else, you know.
And you say that the Dallas offense was not good last night, but what are you supposed to do if you're Dak Prescott and Nick Bosa is just destroying your right tackle anytime he wants?
Listen, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line injuries are definitely caught up with them last night. Dak didn't have a lot of time, but that's where you're hoping with a play caller and head coach who's on the offensive side of the ball to try to do anything. They had no answers for the 49ers, the Cowboys offense, that is, no answers all game long. And that's why I think that the Cowboys defense actually didn't play that bad. They just were on the field for, it felt like, all night because the offense kept going 3 and out.
I disagree in the sense that, did you see Brock Purdy under any pressure at any point in the game? Do you remember?
Yeah, he felt it a little bit. But again, they're so dynamic. Like it didn't matter. It's like if you're gonna run, I can't believe even the RPOs, like they even try to play some of that stuff, and it's like, who's even biting on that? You know that he's going to be handing the ball off. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I think it was a whole team loss for the Cowboys and a whole team effort for the Niners. Here's the thing: if the Niners stay healthy, I mean, everyone knows I'm an Eagles fan, but forget it. The Niners are by far the number 1 team in the league right now. Totally. You can't have this many potential Hall of Famers on your team and not win a Super Bowl. You look at this team maybe as a historically great team right now.
I think you're right. They look like, I mean, your Eagles, I guess, and who else is really going to put up a fight? And then you look over at the AFC, and, I mean, you got Travis Kelce gets banged up a little bit yesterday. He ends up coming back to the sidelines, but was, basically a non-factor in the second half for the most part. Chiefs are in a 1-score game on the road against the Vikings. Bills get thumped yesterday in London. Bengals look a little bit back because Joe Burrow suddenly is fine, I guess. But who in the AFC is blowing the doors off you? Ravens lost yesterday.
Yeah, maybe the Dolphins.
Dolphins are still good, but, I mean, definitely Bills at least showed how they can slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that narrative that the AFC was way better than the NFC is already completely fallen apart.
Yep.
But I do think the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, there are enough teams that could compete here. I think they could all beat San Francisco on a given day.
The other thing, too, about Miami, though, let's not fall into the trap like we did with the Cowboys, which is you beat the Giants by a lot. It doesn't really mean what you think it means.
Yeah, and Miami's not going to do that against San Francisco. San Francisco, though, always has the same problem. They always have injuries by the end of the season. So we'll see. It's week 5. Let's not declare MVPs and Super Bowl champions with too much confidence.
Listen, I'm not saying Purdy's the MVP. Y'all are saying it. 855-212-4CBS. Let's go to Daryl. He's in California. Good morning, Daryl. How are you?
Hey, how you doing this morning?
Excellent.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the game last night. You mentioned earlier about how the 49ers defense was so suffocating. And it reminded me of an old movie I like, The Replacements, with Keanu Reeves in it, when he, in the one part of the movie when he goes, it's like quicksand. When, every move you make, you get deeper and deeper. And it seems like that's what the Cowboys were doing last night.
Man.
The announcer even asked he even mentioned on the sportscast last night when he was talking about the game. When they threw one pass and the guy just hit the guy so hard, he was like, "Don't try that West Coast offense stuff on us. We created that."
Yeah, right.
I felt like, man, there's nothing we can do that's gonna work. I'm a longtime Cowboys fan, but I'm on my way to work. I think I'm gonna have to put a bag over my head today.
Yeah, it's a rough one at the office today for all the Cowboys fans. Daryl, thank you so much for the call. Try to keep your head up. Let's hear from Kyle Shanahan. Can we, Pete? He admitted that this win did mean more.
I was real excited about us this week. I knew it was our biggest game so far this year, as far as nationally and just media-wise and the hype. And sometimes you get worried your team might get too up for stuff. And but just watching them all Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they were so locked in all week. They didn't make too big of a deal of this game.
That was Shanahan.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, this one they didn't make too big of a deal of. I mean, listen, they knew that this was going to be another statement game. And to Daryl's point, who called in from California, you're right. Chris Collinsworth did say this on the broadcast. The Cowboys are running what they're calling Texas Coast, like a West Coast offense, that, a version of it. And the 49ers are looking at that and saying, we invented that. Like, there's no way you're going to beat us with a thing that's ingrained in our DNA going back to the 80s.
By the end of the game, he was saying Texas Coast with such sarcasm, Chris Collinsworth. I feel like we can't even talk about Texas Coast anymore. It's done, right?
No, it's over. They need to come up with something else. And that's why I think McCarthy should wear a lot of this today, because they had no answers. You just want to surrender and say, okay, we went up against a great defense, but now this is 3 in a row that you've played against the 49ers. 12 points, 17 points, 10 points. You don't have Kellen Moore to kick around anymore.
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of creativity and some inventiveness where you can try to put up any better of a fight against the 49ers. You can't just let them keep, pushing you and stomping you around.
Do you think the Eagles could put up a fight against this defense, the Niners defense?
You saw Jalen Hurts running a little more yesterday. I noticed that because you said that he didn't want to run now that he's gotten paid, and that was not – yesterday he had to run a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any team out there. I think that even we're talking about the Dolphins or the greatest show on surf.
Yep.
I'm not sure what offense would have success against the Niners right now. I think we might be looking at an all-time defense.
Which is funny because what was the chatter before the year, right? Michael Parsons was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. I believe it was DJ Reed who said the Jets were going to be the 85 Bears. Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, no, that one nobody took seriously, but okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of 85 Bears references being made, and I don't remember any of them being made to the 49ers. It's not the same type of defense, obviously, but it looks like the Niners are the ones with the runaway defense.
Yeah, but I mean, the Niners had they had the Defensive Player of the Year. Everyone knew they were a legit
Defensive Player of the Year who didn't play a snap in training camp, preseason, all of that stuff. So some questions about Bosa coming in.
I think there was, after the Cowboys ran through the Giants at week 1, that might be the 85 Bears defense. By the way, let's not give up on that defense. It was one bad game for them. I think the Cowboys are going to right the ship, be 12-5, and go out in the second round, because apparently NFL history repeats itself. The question is, now I think the number one question in the NFL, can anyone slow down the Niners at all? We're looking at maybe even... Listen, they'll probably lose next week at Cleveland, 1 o'clock Eastern. I don't see many losses on that schedule at all.
Is this a 17-0?
I don't think so, because they'll have letdowns, but...
I don't think it's going to be against Cleveland. You think that. I don't
know.
think
I'm not saying that. I do think that's a dangerous spot. Coming off this game on a Sunday night, going on the East Coast time in Cleveland, who's coming off a bye... I just think that could be one of the ugliest games ever. Deshaun Watson seems to play nothing but ugly games in Cleveland, so who knows? And Myles Garrett, Brock Purdy looks great. Can they answer Myles Garrett? I just think that I'm saying this, but I don't think there's a lot of L's on that schedule
well,
at all.
Look at it. You're at Cleveland, but then next week you're at Minnesota, but that's the Monday night game, and we know about Kirk Cousins in primetime, so basically pencil that as a W. Then you get to welcome in the Bengals. We'll see what's up with Joe Burrow then. At Jacksonville, that's a 1 o'clock Eastern start. Maybe that's a little bit of a tricky one. Tampa, I mean, you're Eagles, but it's an afternoon game. You're right.
Ooh, at Philly. Okay, that is a place where the Niners might not want to go after last year.
Okay, but if Brock Purdy stays healthy, I hate to break it to you, they're probably playing in the Super Bowl, not your Eagles.
Well, yeah, but Brock Purdy is going to Philly on this Sunday, December 3rd. I would not have Brock Purdy do a 7-step drop in that game.
Yeah, or maybe don't try to block the Eagles' best defensive ends with a tight end, a backup tight end.
I might even take the L there just to protect Purdy.
Just leave him in San Francisco.
Well, that actually is a real downside about Brock Purdy. He's tiny. Same thing with Tua.
Yeah.
Like that is
6'1", right?
I don't know. Brock Purdy's 6'1", maybe. I mean, what do you think he weighs? What do you think he's listed at 6'1"?
Yeah.
I don't think he weighs more than 205. So I do think he has definitely health concerns, just like Tua. It's the same issue. So Sam Darnold did get in last night. I already guarantee you Sam Darnold will win a playoff game for the Niners.
Yeah.
You will admit.
How'd that look last night?
Oh, it was fine. I mean, they had they weren't doing anything.
I think he gained like 5 yards.
Yeah, but they
terrible.
just turned around and handed the ball off like every time. That was terrible.
I'm just
Come
saying.
on. So, do you think Sam Darnold could have won that game for the Niners last night?
Listen, I don't think Sam Darnold's a very good quarterback. This is not a personal indictment on Sam Darnold whatsoever, but I don't think he's very good. I think that he would have given the Cowboys a few more chances there.
What do you think Brock Purdy would have been like if the Jets had drafted him in the 7th round? He would have done nothing. Come on, you gotta consider the situation that Sam Darnold has been in. We have no idea. I really want to see Sam Darnold under Kyle Shanahan's offense. I think it'd be fascinating.
Well, if they keep blowing teams out, you're going to see a lot of Sam Darnold in garbage time.
See them in a competitive game where they have to run pass plays, and he can throw to Debo. I mean, how hard is it to throw to Debo? George Kittle. We keep flip-flopping right here. Yeah, no, I know.
Exactly. This is why Brock Purdy's not the MVP. You just made the case for me.
The NFL has given the MVP to system quarterbacks a million times. There's no reason they wouldn't do it here.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's get some poll questions going up here.
Let's start with, is Brock Purdy a legit MVP candidate?
I think that's the first one, Ryan, for at Maggie and Pearl on the tweets. We have another one. I do not blame the Cowboys defense last night. I don't know how we turn that into a poll question. Who's more to blame for the Cowboys?
Cowboys D or Dak?
Cowboys or Dak/McCarthy.
Do you need a hot tub in Arizona?
Who needs a hot tub?
Yeah, Brock Purdy's parents sell hot tubs in Arizona, apparently do very well. But it's so hot, I don't know what you need a hot tub for. Well, I get it in Vermont.
It would be like when you go in a cold tub to rest your muscles during the winter. That happens.
Yeah, but they're not outside, right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's still cold.
I don't think any of us are cold tub people here.
I'm definitely not.
I would give it a try.
I tried for like a week at the end of my shower to just turn it on real cold for a second, like just give you that jolt. It feels great, but I just can't muster it.
I hate it.
Jumping into a cold plunge, I feel like it's going to stop my heart.
Yeah, I've done a mini polar plunge during a Minnesota Super Bowl week. It was terrible.
Wait, a mini?
Well,
how'd you go half?
I guess it was a full polar plunge. I went into a pool of ice water in Minnesota. It was about 0 degrees out, but I got right out. It's not like I went to the ocean and spent 10 minutes in there.
Wait, was this outside or inside?
Outside.
Oh, wow.
There's video of it. Yeah, it wasn't that big a deal, but I jumped in and then got right out.
It still feels like you're doing something. It's supposed to be cleansing, right? It's supposed to be like wake up your senses.
It is. I did it once. Long Beach, Long Island has the polar bear plunge. I did it once.
New Year's Day.
Yeah, it's like.
How was it?
It was.
Exhilarating.
It was exhilarating. It was a good feeling, but the first time you go in is the worst time. Like right that first couple seconds, and then after that, it's fine.
I don't even like to go into a pool if it's like less than 85. I'm not good with cold water. Which coincides nicely with my fear of big open bodies of water. So I generally just stay out of most lakes and oceans.
Wait, you have a fear of big bodies of water?
And no, thank you.
Why lakes? What's wrong with a lake? The bottom?
Can't see the bottom.
Yeah, that's not good.
My imagination is too much for a big body of water.
So I'm going to guess you're not a Jaws fan.
Not a Jaws fan, although Perloff has the more fear of sharks than I do. I don't know what's down there. You don't know, and I don't know.
When we started this show, for those of you who don't know us, Maggie sort of reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's do a show on CBS Sports Radio." I think you wanted to find somebody who was actually more neurotic than you to go across from you to make you look better.
I know.
Because I think you might be more neurotic than me. Large bodies of water?
I can't with the ocean. I love the beach and I love sunbathing on the beach. Probably not good for you, but I can't get in. It's a fatal flaw. I also have no desire.
You have a young child. What if he wants to go in and play in the waves?
My husband's all about it.
Okay.
That's a dad thing.
Let me ask you, roller coasters?
I've done them before.
You don't seem happy about
Not
them.
thrilled. You want to know why? I'm so worried I'm going to be one of those people that gets stuck upside down. Like every summer, there's like one story like that where the roller coaster gets stuck. Ryan, you're nodding along. Is this also a fear of yours?
I'm with you. That's the worst spot to be. Could you imagine?
All the blood rush into your head? What happens? It's going to take them an hour minimum to get you down.
It happened to me.
It happened to you?
Yeah, but not as extreme as others. There was a ride at one amusement park called the Looping Star where it just goes around in a circle.
Right.
It got stuck in the up position, the top position for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because they had an issue. But still, you're upside down. All the change is falling out of your pocket, and the blood's rushing to your head.
Do your fingers
minutes.
get tingly? Yeah. Like when your hands fall asleep or your legs fall asleep when the blood's away from it?
Yeah, it was. I was screaming, I was yelling, I was cursing. It wasn't great. And that's 5 minutes. Imagine people being up there for like 20 minutes.
Love Pete in an emergency, screaming, cursing, yelling. Way to stay calm, pal.
Oh yeah, no way. Not in that situation.
Oh man, yeah. Just like everyone stay calm, and here's Bilotti, just like
get me out of here.
Yeah, get you out of here. I mean, everyone wants to get out of there.
Let's go.
See, that's why. That's the roller coaster fear.
Wow.
I'll find anything.
I don't know if we should share all this with the audience. It makes us sound kind of like wimps.
It's actually very therapeutic. I feel a little better.
By sharing it or the screaming?
Yeah, by sharing it.
Oh, no, by hanging upside down. I thought you were like, that's, and then, some people do that. They hang upside down to let the blood rush through their body.
Yeah, like Batman. That's how Batman sleeps.
The new therapy.
Yeah.
Stuck upside down.
Upside down therapy. Come out, you're cured. You were a mess before. Now you're totally zen. 855-212-4CBS. Lots more to do, including conversation about Bill Belichick. Back-to-back worst losses he's ever had as a head coach. So what does the future hold for the future Hall of Famer? We get to that. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back here on Maggie and Perloff. I have a stat that's going to blow your mind, Maggie.
Go ahead.
A lot of people don't like passer rating. There's ESPN has their own rating, QBR, but it is indicative of something, right? So who leads the league in passer rating in your guess?
Oh, is this Brock Purdy?
Brock Purdy, 123.1,
Yes.
which is amazing. Tua is second. Justin Herbert is third. Guess who's fourth in the entire NFL in passer rating?
All right, is this a Jalen Hurts? Are you setting me up for Jalen Hurts?
No,
here?
it is a quarterback of one of the worst teams in the league.
One of the worst teams in the league?
Maybe the worst. Well,
Mac Jones?
No, Russell Wilson is
Oh.
fourth in the entire NFL.
You stumped me.
He has a 106.1 passer rating, which is enough to win the MVP in most seasons. Russell Wilson's numbers are fire under Sean Payton.
And it means absolutely
means
zero.
absolutely zero because that is the least effort I've ever seen by a defense in my entire life. And the Jets, they made Zach Wilson look competent, which is a huge accomplishment by a defense. But my point is that Sean Payton is not totally at fault because he's an offensive guy. And you and I differ on this. Offensive guys, they don't know what's happening on defense. That's not their problem.
Wait, Sean Payton just got $100 million, we think, to coach the Denver Broncos, and he can say, defense, go do your thing. That is such a cop-out for a coach who's hoping to go into the Hall of Fame at some point. You have to be responsible for every facet. I'm not saying you have to be a genius on the defensive side, but that is completely on the head coach as well. It falls under his capabilities.
He's got Russell Wilson from remember what Russell Wilson did last year? He's got Russell Wilson to the point where he has 11 touchdowns and 2 picks. If he went into the owners in the offseason and said, I will fix Russell Wilson to this degree, they would be like, yes, bring it on. I know Wilson then fumbled up the game at the end.
Yeah, I mean, who knew how that game was going to end? That was one of the weirdest games where teams kept, back and forth, just trading mistakes. And then finally, Russell Wilson gets chased down from behind. It was basically like a sack fumble that gets scooped up by Bryce Hall of the Jets, and he scores, and that put the icing on.
See, I don't think Sean Payton had no expectations this year. What was their team win total? It was 7.5 games. Last year was disappointing. Nathaniel Hackett came into Denver, and everyone thought they'd be a Super Bowl contender. No one in their right mind thought they'd be a Super Bowl contender this year. So Sean Payton, these are not his guys.
Okay.
This is not his team. So how can you judge him on this?
First of all, they spend almost $250 million in free agency. Sean Payton was in the building for all of that, so you can't say none of his guys. And I don't think there was Super Bowl expectations on Denver, but I think the expectation was not to be one of the worst teams in the league.
Yes.
And to have your defense seem like they are uninterested in tackling, of course that has to fall on the head coach. That's not just all on Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator.
It's all on Vance Joseph.
To be prepared to play and have a sense of wanting to do your job with pride, that has to be on the head coach. And think about what you're paying Russell Wilson, $165 million guaranteed.
Right.
Sean Payton, $100 million. Three first-round picks for both of them, multiple seconds and third-round picks. Think of everything you've mortgaged to try to get these two guys together. I think the expectation to not be one of the worst teams in the league is fair.
Sean Payton signed a 10-year deal. This is a 10-year He's got to revamp this whole team. He's got to get rid of the entire defense, first of all. He may keep Russell Wilson. He might move on. He's got to get a new receiving core. Their receivers are terrible.
Yep.
And not only that, everybody gets hurt. The entire team is injured. So I don't think anyone who is following the Broncos closely can blame Payton for any of this.
Oh, my gosh, Perloff. You're giving him such a pass.
A pass? He just got there. George Payton's made so many mistakes personnel-wise. There is no coach in the league who's going to make Jerry Jeudy good.
Okay.
It's just never going to happen.
You know what? I got to say, Aaron Rodgers was right about this. Aaron Rodgers called this when Sean Payton aired out Nathaniel Hackett and said he did one of the worst coaching jobs in the league. Aaron Rodgers came out and said, it's sad that you have to denigrate the former coach to basically have a built-in excuse for why you're so bad this year. There's such a thing as the first-year coaching bump. That exists for people like Sean Payton to come in and at least look better than you did the year before, and they look worse. I mean, that's saying something.
They don't really look worse.
The defense looks so much worse.
Well, the defense looks worse, but look at all the injuries. I mean, what are they supposed to do? They have about 8 guys on defense who are out. Then Javonte Williams finally comes back, their best running back, and he gets hurt, although they did look good at the running back. Their only reliable receiver, I've decided their only guy who can consistently produce, Tim Patrick, was hurt. So the fact that Russell looks okay, to me, is a small victory for Sean Payton.
Man, you are really handing out participation trophies here. I mean, is Jaleel McLaughlin, was he even drafted? You've got all this high-priced talent on the Denver Broncos, and basically this undrafted guy was the one who was the biggest bright spot for your team yesterday.
Listen, that receiving core that's secretly the worst in the NFL. They make so many small mistakes, but it doesn't even matter.
Also on Sean Payton.
No, it's that. I've watched that team closely. My buddy Case Keenum was in Denver.
Yep.
Their receiving core has been bad for 5 straight years. They make the quarterbacks look so bad. They make so many mistakes. They run the wrong route so many times.
Okay, then what are they paying Sean Payton for then?
He's got to revamp the roster. He's got to build his own guys. He's got, like New Orleans. He's got to bring his guys in. It takes more than 6 games.
I think it was fair to expect them to not be a total bottom dweller.
He took
in
over
the NFL.
a 5-win team.
Yeah, and they're going to have less wins this year. They're going backwards. They're not going forwards.
Give him 3 years before you make any judgment.
3 years. I'd hope so. The dude thinks he's a Hall of Fame coach. I'd hope giving him 3 years would look a lot better, just in time for Patrick Mahomes to have his first devastating injury.
Listen, I mean, if you took over a college program and you didn't have any of your recruits there or any of your except for Dion, that takes time. You give every other coach time. He took over a 5-win team. I mean, is anyone saying, oh, okay, like the other new coaches around the league, like, oh, Jonathan Gannon's a disaster because Arizona's not winning every game? Or Shane Steichen is winning a lot of games. Or D'Amico Ryans.
Arizona was expected to be competing for the number 1 overall pick.
They still are.
Is. Right. Denver has a future Hall of Fame quarterback and maybe head coach.
But they won 5 games last year. Then their win total was 7 this year.
Yeah, and they're probably going to win 3.
I don't know. I actually wouldn't count them out. If Russell can play decent football and if they get anybody off the street to play in their defensive backfield, they will win some games.
No, but you're telling me that Russell is playing well and they're still losing.
No,
you're telling me he's got the 4th highest passer rating in the entire league and they're losing.
If he keeps playing this way, they're going to win some football games.
Well, how about the report from Schefter earlier on Sunday that everyone was that the report? Everyone on the Broncos roster?
No, defense.
Everyone on the defensive side is potentially on the trade block. I mean, I love this because, as you guys know, I'm a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. Please trade for Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, I think
please.
I think there might have been an implied, except for Surtain. I'm not sure.
Well, then don't say everybody and get my hopes up.
Well, Frank Clark he can have.
I don't know if that's what they need. They definitely need Patrick Surtain, and I would trade a 1st-round pick for him.
By the way, the Bills' pass rush did get after it a little bit.
No, the Bills' pass rush,
I don't even know if they need.
They've been fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure they need Von Miller. Fine, they've been dominant. I mean, the Bills came in where they were top 5 defense coming into that game.
Yeah, but because the Miami numbers made it look really, really good. Like, I think people were taking, and the game against the Commanders.
Yeah.
They had 5 takeaways in that game.
Yeah, I think the Bills' defense is maybe going to be okay. I do worry about those back-end injuries. But Milano, you said it coming into the year. And by the way, don't be surprised. You told me coming into the year Matt Milano was going to get hurt.
Yeah, I thought for a couple games. I didn't think they'd lose him for the whole year before we get to Halloween. This is bad. But Patrick Surtain, I mean, everyone is going to – there could be quite a bidding war for him. He's like the only good part of that Denver defense.
Now I'm not even sure about that.
He did a good job on Garrett Wilson yesterday.
I don't know. I think they keep Surtain, but the tackling is – I mean, Breece Hall is all of a sudden Walter Payton. What's happening there? The Broncos,
running back.
The lack of tackling. the fact that you're blaming Sean Payton, that's like giving Kyle Shanahan credit because Fred Warner is awesome. These offensive coaches have no idea what's happening in the defensive room.
Wait, Ryan, someone had called in and they dropped off because we were talking about Sean Payton too much. Were they offering? Was that an offer for me?
No, more of a question of, because of your fears, would you want to take a ride with the Blue Angels or somewhere in that realm?
Would I go and...
Were they with the Blue Angels?
Did not sound like it, no. So I don't think you could have gotten in there if you said yes and you were open to it, but I guess more just hypothetical.
Okay, would I fly with the Blue Angels?
That's a big offer from somebody who has no affiliation with the Blue Angels to say, hey, do you want to fly with the Blue Angels?
Now I feel like I got this decision to make, and I don't even know if it's a real proposition.
What if you got to do a flyover at a Buffalo game? That'd be amazing.
So that's going to be a no for me because I had what I would describe as a near-death experience. I was not near-death. I was totally safe. But in my mind, it was near-death because I got to ride in an Indy car once with Mario Andretti. And they told me that this is the safest place you can be is riding in an Indy car with Mario Andretti.
Is that open?
Yeah. And I said, no, I could be in my house. That's safer. I could be under the covers of my bed. That's safer. Mario Andretti on the straightaway hit like 200 miles an hour, and I lost it. And then meanwhile, he was a prince of a guy, like super nice. I felt so honored to be able to meet him and interview him after. But Mario Andretti's like 85. He took the helmet off. I was like, whoa, Grandpa. Grandpa was just like, we were just flying down a straightaway in Tampa, Florida.
So this was Mario Andretti Sr.?
Yeah, this was probably.
Is it his son a racer too?
Yeah. And the grandson. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago. It was me and a couple of guys from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Got to ride with Mario Andretti one at a time, obviously.
Huh.
Meanwhile, they take off, my cell phone just goes flying out the back. I mean, it was rough. So no to the Blue Angels.
They said with a straight face.
Yeah.
It's the safest place you could be. They said with a straight face.
Safest place you could be, lady. I'm like, nah.
Blue Angels are those fast planes that go over the stadium, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
She's not doing that.
Have you seen those videos of people passing out in them?
Yeah, that'd be
because
me.
of the pressure.
Yeah.
Does not seem like a lot of fun.
It's like, does it chewing a piece of gum, like when you take off on like a Delta flight to clear your ears? I don't think the same thing works.
I told this story on Boise radio. I went on a four-person flight in Idaho and had a bloody nose, and they had to make an emergency landing in a field because the pressure was too much for me. I think it was just I think it was a panic attack, bloody nose.
Your brain just gave up.
Yeah. I told this whole story. I dated a woman whose grandparents lived in Elk City, Idaho, and the only way to get in there is really fly. You could drive 2 hours out of your way in the Nez Perce Mountains, and I was up there, and I'm like terrified. I'm like, I'm bleeding everywhere right now. I said to the pilot, it's like, yeah, that's not good. Let's land over here in that field, which they were going to do anyway, I think.
Sure. They love making emergency landings.
Those little planes, terrifying.
Really scary. Hey, Andrew Bogusch is here to make us feel better. Good morning, Bogusch.
Maybe not. You said this was 6 years ago,
Something like
Andretti?
that.
So he's 83 right now.
Okay, so yeah, he was probably like 77.
Doing 200.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hard pass.
So I'm going to say no.
Stay on the ground. You two-seater? How do they modify that car to get a second person in there?
Just he's in the front, you're in the back. And like you're...
Yeah, still. No thanks.
Yep.
In the back, like when everyone piles in the station wagon and you're in that little area in the back just
I have my
scrunched
knees up to my chest. Yeah. They gave me a helmet, which I appreciate.
Oh, thanks.
Yep.
Headlines are sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Get the tools you need from the brands you trust. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. You can't play the Giants, Jets, and Patriots every week. The Cowboys allowed 41 points total over their first 4 games. Then the Niners outscored everybody on one night.
Here's the snap. Purdy back on a play fake. Looking lob to the end zone. Kittle's got it. Touchdown 49ers. Third touchdown catch of the night for George Kittle. And San Francisco tacks on. Now up 27-10. 7:20 to go in the third quarter.
That's Ryan Radke on Westwood 1. Purdy and Kittle connecting 3 times. Purdy adding a 4th TD throw to fullback Kyle Juszczyk. 3 INTs, meanwhile, from Dak Prescott. The Niners roll 42-10. That's Dallas's worst loss since 2013. Your thoughts, Mike McCarthy?
We did not hit the mark at all today.
His team is now 3-2. Plenty of injuries to worry about after yesterday. Giants QB Daniel Jones finally broken by that useless offensive line. Jones suffered a neck injury when sacked for a sixth time in a 31-16 loss in Miami. Further imaging for him today. Justin Jefferson hurt a hamstring in the Vikings' 27-20 home loss to the Chiefs. There was Matt Milano's likely major leg injury in the Bills' loss to the Jags in London. And Anthony Richardson now dealing with a right shoulder injury, having already missed time with a concussion. Colts head coach Shane Steichen on playing with fire with the rookie QB.
Obviously, one of his skill set is a runner. That what makes him really good. The design runs. The design run that he got hurt on, we ran something similar to that last week where he popped it for a big one.
Gardner Minshew won in relief for the second time this season, 23-16 over Tennessee. Jonathan Taylor, 6 carries, 18 yards in his season debut, while Zach Moss ran for a career-high 165 and 2 scores for Indy.
How about
you think Irsay regretted paying Jonathan Taylor after Zach Moss did that? I know he did.
I mean, first of all, so everything's cool now? I mean,
yeah.
I guess it's all business.
$42 million, yeah, everything's cool.
No, but I didn't think that the Colts were going to put that offer out on the table either. Like, I'm surprised that this got done. And yes, then Zach Moss goes off and shows that basically in the right scheme and against the right opponent, any running back can be a world beater.
The funny thing is, I think everyone thinks in their head Irsay made a mistake paying Jonathan Taylor. And earlier in the year, everyone was feeling bad for running backs, but now you see why they're not getting paid. This is a perfect example. There's no reason they need Jonathan Taylor in Indy.
Well, another perfect example for the running back situation is Saquon Barkley didn't play for the second straight game. So it's like another guy who didn't get paid, but he's not even on the field.
But the Giants are terrible, extra terrible without him.
Extra terrible, but would he even be able to make a difference? You said it yourself. Their offensive line is a sieve.
And their defense is the worst in the league.
Yeah,
second worst
sucks.
behind Denver.
But then there's also Christian McCaffrey, who is at least on the periphery of an MVP conversation.
That's true.
What about that? Remember Dalvin Cook? Everyone wanted Dalvin Cook in the offseason. He is a distant second on that depth chart behind Breece Hall. So I don't know. I hate to say it. The way the season's playing out, it confirms don't pay running backs.
Okay, but are you going to prepare to say if Brock Purdy wins MVP to stop drafting first-round quarterbacks?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, if Sam Howell's in the top 10 of that. No, of course I'm not. That's a great point. But running backs, that's a totally different. That's the worst analogy I ever heard, Bogus.
It's not the worst you've ever heard. It can't possibly be.
No, but I'm like, well, is Bogus making a good point here? What does Brock Purdy have to do with Jonathan Taylor's contract?
Well, because I think that while I understand all of the logic in, well, most of it in not paying running backs, nobody gets penalized more than that position for what every single person from that position does. Like here in New York, Evan Neal's garbage, but no one's going to stop drafting offensive linemen in the first round. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill. People are still going to draft wide receivers in the first round. Brock Purdy might win is an MVP after 5 weeks, but no one's going to stop taking 4 quarterbacks in the first 6 picks in the spring. But running backs suck, and now you can't have them, and you can't give them any money ever again.
There's so many late-round running backs who do well. Jaleel McLaughlin, I don't know if he got drafted at all for Denver. There's so many guys who exceed who are not first-round picks.
But there's also I think in my mind, there's a short list of guys that at running back that should get paid. Taylor's one of them. Barkley's one of them. McCaffrey's one of them.
Well, definitely not Barkley. If they pay him, they're insane. The guy can't stay on the field at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. I guess like the other thing is, I think the flip side of this is you're going to see running backs now going in the first round. Because it's like, all right, I'll take a Bijan Robinson or I'll take a Jahmyr Gibbs because I'll get his best years in the first couple years of that rookie deal, and then I just will never give him a second contract.
I get your logic. Makes perfect sense. But if the Lions had a mulligan, I guarantee they would not take Gibbs at 12. That was a wasted pick.
It was a crazy pick at the time. But listen,
they're not using him at all.
I know, but
they could have gotten an undrafted free agent out of Youngstown State like Jaleel McLaughlin and use him. There's no reason Gibbs is on that offense. He adds nothing right now.
No, but I think Bijan Robinson adds something to the Atlanta Falcons offense. I mean, their offense hasn't been gangbusters the last couple weeks, but if you don't plan on giving them a second contract, you get their best years right up front.
Okay, yes, but they could run last year. Just the Gibbs, I think the Gibbs pick is a warning to the NFL. Like, I get your logic, but if you don't need him, I mean, David Montgomery all of a sudden looks like an all-world running back. It's just complicated.
Well, let's wait and see when the Lions have to win a big game outdoors in the cold and see how much they might be relying on the running backs then.
Yes, David Montgomery. Gibbs is on the bench.
I know, but do you think David Montgomery is going to stay healthy the whole year?
Good point.
I don't know.
Let's do some playoff baseball. Their amazing season now one loss from being over. The Orioles falling into an 0-2 hole with an 11-8 home loss to the Rangers. The best of 5 resumes tomorrow in Texas. The Twins got a split in Houston 6-2, 3 RBI for former Astro Carlos Correa. Somebody on the show this morning, Hickey, I believe, predicted a Georgia loss this weekend. They blew out Kentucky instead, strengthened their hold on number 1 in the AP poll. The Bulldogs adding 15 first-place votes, earning 50 total. Michigan, Ohio State, FSU, Oklahoma complete the top 5. USC won in Triple OT for the 3rd straight week, but dropped for the 3rd straight week, now number 10. The great Seth Davis now writes for a website called The Messenger, and he's reporting that the Big 12 has resumed high-level talks with Gonzaga. Commissioner Brett Yormark, has briefed members on the Zags joining, obviously for basketball first and foremost, and maybe only as soon as next academic year. The Las Vegas Aces now 6 for 6 this postseason, taking Game 1 of the WNBA Finals from the Liberty 99-82. And finally, the man that most likely stands between Perloff and I driving to San Antonio next spring is Blazers rookie guard Scoot Henderson. We'll see if he's better at basketball than Victor Wembanyama, but can Wemby sing Mary J. Blige? I apologize for the bad audio quality. The Blazers would not share this officially because they don't have the rights to the song. So this is like secondhand audio from their fan fest yesterday. But that's Scoot singing and dancing to Family Affair. And it's not terrible.
Listen, if this whole Rookie of the Year thing doesn't work out, at least he can win the team talent show. That's a nice consolation prize. Bogusch, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Coming up, another disappointment from a major college football team who may have squandered their best shot at the college football playoff. We'll get to that. A lot more NFL to hit you with as well. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Eat the chili. No hands.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Eat the chili. No hands.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
Top 10 moments from Andrew Perloff's Skyline Chili Bet Payoff. Number 10.
With the cheese, he is very delicately breaking the film.
Number 9.
There is juice cascading off his nose.
It's good.
Number 8.
All the way in. Oh, we have spaghetti. He has found the pasta.
Number 7.
Another big bite. Oh, that's a lot of pasta.
You're really getting in there.
Number 6.
Why I didn't.
There we go. Slurping sound.
Good slurping.
Number 5.
Oh.
Number 4.
Oh my God.
That was a full open mouth tongue scoop of pasta. This
Number
is
3.
friendship. Oh, it's like he's a 4-year-old.
Number 2.
A bowl of chili anymore. Oh, our first rip of pasta.
And the number 1 moment from Andrew Perloff's Skyline
now
Chili
I'm
Bet
making
Payoff.
noises as we gobble up. Oh, now it's over.
Against Georgia Tech.
statement win on Sunday night. They thoroughly beat the Cowboys.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We get back to Cowboys 49ers in just a moment, but Perloff and I do not agree about whether Sean Payton is to blame for the Denver Broncos being off to a terrible start so far this year. I mean, 1-4 on the season. You just lost the Nate Hackett Bowl to the Jets yesterday. I mean, if Zach Wilson doesn't throw a pick late in that game, this looks even worse for the Denver Broncos. I think it has to fall on the head coach.
Well, I'm not putting zero blame on Sean Payton, but the problem is the personnel. He inherited a bad team, and he might have thought, and I think a lot of people thought, oh, there's talent here, but there is not.
No.
There's a total lack of heart on both sides of the ball. I just think the fact that Sean Payton has Russell Wilson playing relatively well, minus some key mistakes, is kind of a miracle after last season.
Think what you just said there. Sam is in Colorado. Sam, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. How are you folks doing?
Best shape of our lives. What do you got?
Welcome to the early show.
Thank you.
Perloff, I've got to take issue with you giving Sean Payton a free pass on this dumpster fire we call the Broncos.
Yep.
Okay.
Keep one thing in mind. The defense is the biggest problem, and he hired Vance Joseph. He had choices other than Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph has been pretty much a complete failure his whole coaching run. I think out of all of his defensive coordinator, I think 1 year his defense was in the top 5, and the rest of the time it's been at the bottom of the league. The guy is a no-talent bum.
Wow.
Jeez, Sam. I mean, I was a no talent, but you're right on the fact that, and thank you for the phone call and the warm welcome to the morning. You're right about the fact that it does fall on Payton because he is the one who hired the coordinator, and then it's also, coaching your coaches. And listen, I think that Saints fans will probably look at this and say, this looks very familiar, which was Sean Payton in New Orleans, who many years were squandered partially because Drew Brees took every dollar, which makes it hard to build a team. However, also because there was a lack of attention and detail to the defense. How do you make this mistake again?
So you're saying Sean Payton didn't succeed in New Orleans? Like, I'd take New Orleans at this point.
No, but don't you think they probably left a little bit on the bone there, considering their defense was not bad?
I think Sean Payton's run in New Orleans was unbelievable.
A lot of 8-8 seasons in there, dude.
Yeah, I know, because the team gets old and they have to pay guys. That's what happens. They had a run of sustained success that was pretty remarkable. And the fact that they reinvented the team towards the end of Sean Payton and probably should have gone to the Super Bowl is incredible. I just think that this team he inherited, this is not his team yet. And it's clearly, as bad as the defense was in New Orleans, it was nothing like this. In fact, they got good kind of by the end of the Sean Payton stay there. Vance Joseph was a mistake. He was a terrible head coach in Denver.
Yep.
I'm sure that's why that caller was so mad at him. There were so many game situations he screwed up as a Broncos head coach. And honestly, I had no idea Vance Joseph was going to be this bad. I mean, we know Vance Joseph. So
the defensive coordinator for last year was Elvira Ojiro.
And he got hired somewhere else.
He got hired by the Carolina Panthers, right? I mean,
that hurt.
I think also, did you do enough to try to keep him? I mean, clearly he was able to do a lot with the same personnel. Like last year, this defense was actually the best part of the team. They were representable. This year, they're not. It's basically the same guys.
Has it dawned on you that this 2 years in a row that we might have overrated the Broncos? That there might be something rotten to the core that needs to be rooted out? Like, Sean Payton needs time here to take whatever was wrong. Maybe it wasn't Nathaniel Hackett last year. Maybe there were bigger problems. Maybe it's not Russell Wilson's office. No, I don't know. I definitely don't think it was.
But they just got new ownership, right?
Yeah, just got new ownership.
Right.
You can't immediately do it. Honestly, last year I think was more injuries than people are giving it credit for. This year is a lot of injuries too. I think he needs to really reset this roster. Yeah.
A difficult night for Cowboys and their fans. This one was hard to stomach. The gap between the Cowboys and the 49ers maybe a bit deeper and a bit wider than at least the Cowboys would have thought. We'll get to that. 855-212-4CBS. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on this Monday morning on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1986. He left.
We are live right at the Rose Bowl where no big deal. Penn State demolished, dominated, controlled.
Number shows the best team in the NFL. I mean, a beatdown yesterday of the Dallas Cowboys, and this is a game, Perloff, that Jerry Jones says was going to be a measuring stick for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, the early returns not great for Big D.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that has tortured the Cowboys fans. I mean, I did call it kind of. I did want to say, first of all, the Cowboys were on grass, not good. McCarthy's not great on the road. And San Francisco's fully healthy. They haven't been able to beat a beat-up San Francisco team. How are you going to deal with all those weapons coming at you? The rest of the league has one chance. And this is sad to say. It's somebody on the Niners gets hurt because there's just too many weapons right now. They'll hit you with Debo. They'll hit you with Ayuk. They'll hit you with McCaffrey. They'll hit you with Kittle. They'll hit you with Elijah Mitchell. It does not even matter. And then that's the offense. The defense is even more ridiculous. So I think basically we all need help to stop the San Francisco 49ers juggernaut.
You know, or maybe it's just finally their year. I think that they look so good. The one thing about the Cowboys, and they're going to get slaughtered today, right? And you lose 42-10, and Dak Prescott throws 3 interceptions, and it's just easy pickings here for everyone to pile on and to really bury the Dallas Cowboys. I think you cannot bury their defense. The defense was the only thing that was possibly keeping them in this game in the first half before it got out of control. Dak Prescott and the offense did not get a first down until almost midway through the second quarter.
But this is supposed to be the 85 Bears. The first drive of the game, the Niners easily drove down the field.
Oh, that was easy. Yes, very easy.
That was so easy. That immediately they said a statement like, we're not scared of you at all.
Okay, but think about it. It was 7-0, and then they traded 3 and outs, I believe. They traded punts. And then when the defense of the Dallas Cowboys actually holds the 49ers, gives the ball back to Dak Prescott in a 1-score game, and the first thing that happens is Tony Pollard fumbles the ball out of bounds. That's not Dak's fault. But then you immediately give it back to the 49ers. They ended up giving it back to you.
They fumbled right back.
With a fumble, but then you're asking Dak Prescott to start operating out of his own end zone, and I hated the play calling from there. There were so many things wrong where the offense just could not give the defense any kind of help or a break. To me, this goes more on the Dallas offense than the defense.
What is the play call when you're at the 1-yard line against the San Francisco 49ers? There's no play call for this.
Well, they were able to get on second down, get like an 8-yard gain out crossing route to Michael Gallup. I mean, they wasted first down trying to go for an everything play, which was silly. I didn't like the play calling. I didn't like the offense, and I think they are more to blame here than the defense, but it's going to look like the defense because the score was 42-10.
And the fact that the defense got thoroughly dominated and was beat physically, mentally, every which way. The Niners ran at will. In fact, there was a bunch of plays that were called back on penalties. The Niners had no problem moving the ball for most of the night. Yes, they were stopped a couple times, but not that much.
Yeah, the Niners also got a very crucial third down penalty, which should have been a little, maybe suspect. It was, a holding call, I believe, on Dallas. I guess you're going to call it, but it extended a drive where it looked like they had really kind of gotten Purdy.
Come on. Purdy was 17 for 24, 254, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The Niners offense did whatever they wanted the entire time.
Well, we talk about teams that are just great front runners, like
Yes, because the offense jumped them out to that lead, not the defense.
No. I'm saying that we've talked about how the Cowboys can be great front runners. There's some teams better than others,
Pin
right?
your ears back and go after the quarterback.
I mean, there is no team that is suited to play better from in front than the 49ers. Like, you get a sense that once you get up 2 scores, it's night-night. There's because of the run game and because of how good their defense is, there's just no way to get back into these games. And, I mean, 0 effort or 0 D-, F- grade for the Cowboys for creativity on offense to try to do anything. This is your 3rd game in a row where they've held you under 20 points. I mean, it's like something's got to give here if you're going to try to be competitive in these games.
Yeah, I think you nailed it earlier. The Cowboys are definitely short a receiver.
Yes.
Dak is obviously, we know Dak. He's the most sort of inspected quarterback in the league. We know who he is right now. He's good in certain situations. It's got to be laid out there right for him. Here's my real concern. Pollard, all of a sudden, Tony Pollard, the running back, not explosive. What happened there?
Well, maybe running backs mean a little bit more than we think. They're not getting paid at all, but maybe you need them. I don't think Zeke Elliott would have been any better at this offense. I mean, obviously, they're not doing much in New England, but how are you going to run the ball when you're down, 21-0 before anyone can blink?
And their tight end, they're not strong in that position. The line looks like the line. I understand. It was the first time they were all together last night. They're going to need some time. Listen, the Cowboys are probably going to be exactly like last year. They're probably going to be 12-5. They're probably going to run over the Commanders and the Giants. Beat the Eagles once. We've seen this season before. They seem to be stuck in this loop of making the playoffs and then not doing anything. And right now, it feels like if they run into San Francisco in the playoffs, they're not overcoming this.
Ryan Hickey behind the glass today. Can we update one of our poll questions? We got a couple of them out there. Can we update the Brock Purdy MVP poll? Is he legitimate MVP candidate after a big night on a national stage last night?
A resounding so far, yes.
Wow.
81.3% say yes, Brock Purdy right now, legitimate NFL MVP candidate.
I mean, how do you pick out the MVP candidate on that offense? It's like every guy. Brock Purdy is distributing the ball, but that's exactly what he's doing. He's distributing the ball. It's not like, it's because of Brock that they have this incredible offense.
Yeah, but you know how the MVP award works.
It's a quarterback award.
The quarterback on the best team has a great chance if he has good numbers, and Purdy's numbers are unbelievable.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers was always 13-3. I mean,
he had
the number 1 seed.
The last 2 MVPs,
I think he was number 1 on both those, right?
I don't think he was the number 1 seed, the fourth one.
They were certainly close. Yeah, I mean, you have to, if you win 13 games and you have a 123.1 passer rating, you have a good shot at MVP. I mean, the problem right now is Tua. Tua's numbers are ridiculous,
insane,
too.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, these short quarterbacks who are just playing point guard are winning in the NFL. Maybe that's what you need, Maggie. Maybe you're underestimating how important that role is to be a point guard quarterback. You're a Bills fan. You have the opposite. You have a scoring machine in Josh Allen. Maybe if he was more of a point guard, the Bills would be a better team.
Listen, I think they tried that a little bit when they tried to get the run game going.
And it looked good,
and
right?
it looks better, but that's still because the threat of his arm and those explosive plays to Diggs, it kind of throws the defense off. This isn't today. It's not about the Bills. The Bills got a lot of work to do. Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Brian is in Louisiana. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Doing good, Maggie. Good morning, and good morning, Perloff. I had a thought listening to you about Sean Payton.
Yes.
He kind of inherited that whole thing in Denver.
Yep.
He's going to have time. But when he started with the Saints, as a member of the Who Dat Nation, he took a 3-13 team after Katrina and made it 10. I think they were 10-6.
Yeah.
And we made the playoffs because he got Drew Brees and he signed, drafted Reggie Bush and stuff like that. And towards the end. Not the last 2 years, but before that, we had 3 7-9 seasons. So he wasted Drew Brees' prime career with the defense. And Drew Brees did take pay cuts all of those years. I know that. He took pay cuts.
Yeah, but then he built them. Then he built them back into a really, really competitive team. Almost had a shot. Should have gone in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, we got screwed with that Rams game.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, definitely. We all know that.
But, by the way, the difference is he inherited a team in New Orleans that at least had heart. There is no heart and a single player in Denver. There's not a single guy there that I would want on my team.
Brian, thank you for the phone call. And I think that also falls on the head coach. You have to be.
How many years in a row have the Broncos been all these supposedly talented players who don't play with any grit?
I know, but that's what the money's for, right? Like, not to quote Don Draper, but that's why you bring in and trade for a big-time head coach like Sean Payton, because you want the culture change. And maybe it doesn't always happen immediately, but it feels like it's getting worse from last year. You at least want to see some incremental steps.
Ooh, I don't know. Last year was pretty bad.
Well, but last year was also easy to see why they would have been so demoralized, because their head coach was totally underwater. They had no idea what they were doing, and Russell was bad. So it's like, okay, you can understand why a locker room would fracture. For this, even you said it yourself, Russell's numbers are not bad. You've got a big-time head coach. This should be a team that at least gives a crap, and they don't.
Well, they've been
on defense.
Listen, they've been close in a lot of games. They've had a lot of close losses. They could easily have won a couple of these ones, and I think they're going to win some games. I just think we probably should have looked at them as a 6-win team. They're 7.5 was their team win total coming in. That's who they are. They're not a good team. Sean Payton needs 3 years. Give him 3 years. He's got a 10-year deal, Maggie. This was not a short term. Nobody thought he was going to come in here and win a Super Bowl.
Do you think he sees the end of that 10-year deal? Does anyone see the end of a 10-year deal?
I think if he gets the right quarterback, yes. I mean, he was in New Orleans for 18.
Let's go to Brandon. He is in Utah, wants to talk about the Cowboys. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, good morning. I agree with you thinking that the Dallas Cowboys' problem was mostly their offense. Also because...
Oh, Brandon, I'm so sorry. Your phone quality is just not good enough. I'm so sorry about that. But thank you for the phone call. And the offense was just never was able to give the defense any kind of breather or balance or anything. Perloff, of 9 of the 11 drives that Dak Prescott was quarterbacking last night, 9 of the 11 were 3 plays or fewer. It's nothing. Your defense is on the field
3 of those
constantly.
Through 3 interceptions and 3 straight drives. So
in the second half, yeah.
Yeah, so that's... Anyway, did they ever stop the Niners, really, in any meaningful way? It's not like the Niners were having any trouble moving the ball.
It was 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. I mean, it's not like it was this crazy blowout to start the game. I mean, it seemed like the 49ers were dominating in all facets.
They were 21-7.5.
I know, but at the end of the first quarter, it was 7-0, and there was actually a chance for the Cowboys to maybe get back in it in the second quarter, and the offense could not do anything.
I don't know. If you honestly look at that game and say there was nothing wrong with the defense played well, I just don't understand it. They got blown away. They were blocked at every... This is a team that we know the Cowboys' strength is their defense. Dan Quinn is the strongest coach in that building by far. They have Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
I know that they lost Diggs, but they have so many playmakers. Look at that game last week against the Patriots. Their defense is a dominant force. They have to win with defense. They're not going to win this. They're not going to beat anybody. They're not going to outscore anybody. Right? That is their strength. They're compared to the 85 Bears coming into this.
Which is so funny, though, because you're saying it's so clear that the defense is the way they're going to win games. And I'll agree with you. But just last year, with basically the same personnel, minus Brandon Cooks, I guess, this was a top 5 offense? This was a good offense. This was a good offense on third down. This was a good offense.
They played nobody last year. It was
neither did your Eagles, okay? I mean,
I know.
What
I'm
are you
very
gonna
aware
say?
of that.
What do you want to say?
That was great, by the way. But it's not even close right now. That defense is so much ahead of that offense because if you don't throw it to CeeDee Lamb, where are you throwing the ball? And even he was not great last night.
Who's going to pony up for Davante Adams is the question. If he's even
I'll
available.
tell you right now, by 50 miles, there's one team.
The Dallas Cowboys?
Nope. Not the New York Jets. Not the Baltimore Ravens should cut every single receiver they have today. Just to release all 5, except for Zay Flowers. Keep him, but even he's back. And bring in Davante Adams. I've never seen a worse receiving game in my life than Sunday Ravens Steelers.
It was the receivers basically 3 quarters or almost the whole game. It was the receiver's fault. And then Lamar makes some mistakes at the very end of the game, throwing a bad pick. And it was just like the combination they could not overcome.
Was that on Lamar? Or did his scrawny, overrated, overpaid wide receiver get shoved away by Joey Porter Jr. on a jump ball that Davante Adams, by the way, Davante Adams ran that route that Odell Beckham Jr. did. 100% of the time, he scores a touchdown there. Odell just got sort of pushed to the side like a little baby man by Joey Porter Jr.
Well, listen, Odell also, drew a big-time foul when he got hit really hard in the middle of the field that set them up.
So Lamar, after the game, said, I wanted to give my guy a chance. I think that was pure, like, oh, man, we brought in Odell. Let's throw him a bone here. And he just wasn't physical enough to stay in the play. Honestly, I don't even put that one on Lamar. But he had 5 touchdown passes that were dropped. Like,
it was
easy.
terrible from the receivers, but then at the end, when you need Lamar to not throw that interception, he threw that interception. And that's not even his MO, but he did.
Yeah, because he was throwing it to a weak receiver. Honestly, if Devontae Adams ran that route, what happens?
Oh, well, Devontae Adams is definitely scoring. Here's the thing. It's like the Pittsburgh offense was so bad yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
So bad. And then they were like the Undertaker gif, just like sitting up and going on one good drive. And it's like Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator, get like a reprieve, like a stay of execution for a week because they were able to finally put together a good drive.
Even they figured out, just throw it to George Pickens every play and you're fine. But I think that's because the Baltimore defense at a certain point is like, they lost some of their energy because the offense was letting them down so many times. And do not blame Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson might have had one of his better games in his career. He was throwing dimes 40 yards downfield into guys' hands again and again and again. And he was just let down.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We'll get to Bill Belichick. We've promised it. We want to hear from you on the Cowboys and on the 49ers. The multiple poll questions up right now. Number 1, is Brock Purdy a legit MVP candidate? I say no. Perloff says yes. Was last night who's to blame for the Cowboys? I say the offense. Perloff says everyone.
Definitely.
Did we also have the poll question up? Do you need a hot tub in Arizona? We do not. Why would anyone need a hot tub in Arizona? Why not just have a pool and just like let the sun heat it all day and they will boil? It's like 115 degrees there every day.
Can you imagine getting how sunburned I get in a pool in Arizona? It'd be bad.
I think you can only go to Arizona in the winter months. It's the only thing that's safe for you.
Even that, I had the issue. There was a Super Bowl there. Was that last year we were there? Yeah, I tried to. I got stopped at security because I brought so much sunscreen on my carry-on.
Like, sir, this is enough for the entire county. 855-212-4CBS. Let us know. We're going to talk about Bill Belichick and next. What does his future hold? We are watching the end of a great coach. More Maggie and Perloff straight ahead.
You're in a 5-minute break.
We are live right at the Rose Bowl where no big deal, Penn State demolished, dominated, controlled number 8 Utah in an absolute dominant victory. So let me just tell you this, folks, for the future, 2023, look out for the Nets. They dominated with Sean Clifford, 6-year quarterback, no big deal. They got Drew coming in, 2 freshman running backs, dominant. We'll see you next year. We'll see you in the playoff.
Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Maggie, we've gotten some key information on an important topic today.
What's that?
Apparently, there are reasons that people get hot tubs in Arizona.
I mean, that's good news for the Purdy family, who we found out are in the hot tub business last night.
Yes.
And like Chris Collinsworth said, I think what everyone outside of Arizona was thinking, why would anyone need a hot tub in a place where it's 115 degrees for like 60 straight days or something this season?
Yeah, I think they're in a town called Mesa, which is 25 minutes from downtown Phoenix. I guess there's many elevations and many different situations in Phoenix, and you can get outside of there and need a hot tub at night. We have friends who have a place in Flagstaff where the Cardinals used to train.
Yeah.
And you can ski there. So they do get mountainous and it's desert. So anyway, we got to the bottom of that.
Kind of trailed off there. Wait, Ryan, who
Yeah.
called in? Someone wanted to tell us how wrong we were about the hot tub thing.
It was Debbie from Arizona
Okay.
who said that they are basically very much needed throughout the state.
I'm fascinated with the Purdy parents, by the way.
Yeah, we heard.
Yeah.
Skinamax.
No, I just think.
What are they doing in that hot tub?
Hey. I think, if Purdy continues to have this kind of season, we're going to find out a lot about the Purdy family. There's going to be all sorts of features.
What if he was conceived in a hot tub in Arizona
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
now becomes a
that's-
pro quarterback? You start to copy that plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty much a given. I mean, why else would you be in the hot tub business unless you have some really nice memories of a hot tub?
Why not be in the hot tub business?
Yeah,
Who does not like a hot tub?
Well, they do have that pool and hot tub in Bank. What do they call it now? Bank One Ballpark. The
Oh, that's pool?
Yeah, they have. I think they have a hot tub in that pool.
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
Ooh.
hot tubs are not just for cold to warm you up. Like you don't only have them in like the north, like in
Vermont.
You use them for enjoyment, not because you're freezing
No.
and you don't have heat in your house.
Right.
Okay.
To calm the muscles down. Too.
Yeah.
I know, but that's like when it's 110 degrees. Aren't the muscles already pretty loose?
No, maybe not.
It's a dry heat, Maggie.
Yeah.
No, I get. I do understand Phoenix. My problem always when I've been in Phoenix is staying cool, not how do I get in a hot tub and get a sweat going.
Bogus is here with some headlines. What's up, Bogus?
Dak Prescott promised to throw fewer interceptions this season after 15 a year ago, and he was keeping his word, 1 pick through 4 games, but then he had to play the Niners.
Back to pass, looks left, throws left on the slant pass. Bad intercepted. Picked off by Warner. Down the near side of the 30, avoids 1 tackle and goes down at the 26. Second interception thrown tonight by Prescott.
There was 1 more interception plus 3 sacks while the Cowboys were held under 200 yards in a 42-10 embarrassment in Santa Clara. No post-game sugarcoating from Dak.
Put everything into this and got punched in the mouth. Called a couple of weeks ago humbling against Arizona. But this may be the most humbling game I've ever been a part of.
Niners QB Brock Purdy, he of the blossoming hot tub franchise business in Arizona, remains unbeaten when he does not suffer a major elbow injury in game. 4 touchdown passes, 3 of them to George Kittle. Christian McCaffrey extended his touchdown streak to 14 games with a rushing score. The Niners and the Eagles are 5-0. Philly pitching a second-half shutout to beat the Rams in L.A. 23-14. I believe without Taylor Swift in attendance, Travis Kelce caught an ankle injury, then a touchdown pass in the Chiefs' 27-20 win in Minnesota. Over their first 8 possessions yesterday afternoon, the Dolphins scored 5 times, gave it away 3 times. One of those a 102-yard pick 6, keeping the Giants close-ish. Miami won 31-16. Further imaging today for Daniel Jones after hurting his neck on sack number 6. And again, in case you didn't hear, why can't I speak or read today? The Patriots, they are still terrible. After giving Bill Belichick the worst loss of his career in Dallas last weekend, they accepted his worst home loss on their coach's behalf, 34-0 from the Saints. Mac Jones, again, did not finish the game.
Not an ideal situation for anybody, and as an offense, the goal is to play better and put up points. So we all have to do that, and got to practice that way and do things differently and figure out how to put up points.
New England outscored 72-3 over the last 2 weeks. 34-0 is the second worst shutout loss in team history.
That's some insight there by Mac Jones. The goal of the offense is to put up points.
Yeah, as opposed to the 0 that they put up yesterday.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Man, I should take notes on this. This is jarring to me to watch because I've been kind of the holdout here of like, no, Belichick's still dangerous. You can't count him out. You know, just when you think he's down, this is when he's going to come back. And it's over. It feels like it's over. Yep. And this is shocking as somebody who Belichick kicked my team's butt for 2 decades. 2 decades of just sheer dominance. This is bizarre to see.
It's also the way they're losing. Not only are they playing poorly on offense, they're getting pushed around on both sides of the ball. There was one play where my guy Taysom Hill had a carry. He was not afraid of anybody tackling him. He just ran right through them. And they get in the trenches, too.
Well, they lost like 2 of their best defensive players. Right. Maybe Christian Gonzalez, who was just a rookie but was looking very good. And then Matthew Judon, who we know is awesome, is out for, a month with that torn pec? I mean, season's over. Why would he even come back?
Trent Brown, their star offensive lineman, got bullied around, too. Every single position. And the special teams has been awful, too. They can't even snap the ball. There's so many problems. You're right. It's over.
Do we think, though, that Robert Kraft would do him the indignity of firing him in season?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Well, I actually, by the way, I say it's over. I'm not 100% sure that Belichick doesn't come back next year. I mean.
Oh, my goodness, he can't.
See, I thought Belichick would be able to name the time and the place, right? You win six Super Bowls. You're able to do whatever you want. You've got so much sweat equity built up with the ownership group, with the fan base, everything. But I think now you could look at the product and say, Bill's the general manager and Bill's the head coach. The personnel stinks and the product on the field is bad. Like I feel like I'm the last person to finally come around on this, but no, I think he's done it.
Wait, but are you guys both at 100? He's done.
If it keeps looking like this, and they said they're going to restart and recalibrate, what's going to change? You're going to put Bailey Zappi in? I mean, it's the same result. Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones are the same person.
I think you might get to a point where Kraft goes to Belichick at the end, toward the end of the season, to say we're moving on, so he gets a little send off at the end.
Oh, that'd be interesting. What about this? Maybe this is what saves him. Maybe they're like, listen, bring in a general manager, and even if it's someone you like, bring in Scott Pioli. Do whatever you want. Just bring in somebody to divide a little of the work here, or whatever. I think everyone in the building is afraid to disagree with Belichick. Probably.
How about giving Belichick another quarterback to try with, Drake May, for example? Or I don't think they'll be bad enough to get Caleb Williams. Maybe they will. But if they get a top 5 pick, wouldn't you maybe want to see, I wonder what Belichick could do with this guy? Maybe. I doubt it. I would not, but the front office might think so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you are that bad, which they probably are, to get Drake May or to get whoever's going to be third on this list.
There's going to be a bunch of quarterbacks.
I think that would be more palatable if the only problem was Mac Jones. But that's not the problem. The whole thing is broken.
Where's the receiver core? Yeah.
Right. The whole thing. They're not smarter anymore. They're not better prepared anymore. It's not just a talent thing. The whole thing is out of whack.
The number one problem is physicality. They're getting pushed around.
Yep.
Have you ever seen Bill Belichick pushed around?
Also, can you imagine Bill Belichick losing to Dennis Allen? Terrible.
By 34 points.
That's just bananas. I mean, Dennis Allen, we did fine defensive coordinator. Nobody's putting him in Canton as a Hall of Fame head coach.
I mean, he just lost to Mike McCarthy 38-3.
Yeah, but at least McCarthy's Super Bowl winning head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, whatever. There's some gravitas that comes along with coaching the Cowboys and the Packers. I mean, Dennis Allen's a failed Raiders coach.
Yeah.
I mean, the world is littered with those.
I don't know. At this point, I would not consider it a one-on-one coaching matchup with Bill Belichick and anyone.
But I'm just saying.
Let's do some baseball. Former Astro Carlos Correa, 3 hits, 3 RBI. Pablo Lopez held the Stros scoreless for 7. Their Twins get a split in Houston, 6-2. Manager Rocco Baldelli on his starting pitcher.
I think he was completely locked in. Anyone watching can see the stuff it's exceptional, but I think he had tremendous feel for his pitches today. To me, it was not that difficult of a decision tonight to let Pablo pitch, and he pitched.
It was about offense. Meanwhile, in Game 2 in Baltimore, the Rangers topped the O's 11-8 for a 2-0 lead in that best of 5. The 2 NL Division Series are back on the field for Game 2 today. The Big 12 is once again reportedly flirting with Gonzaga. Men's basketball and whatever other sports they play in Spokane could join the conference by next fall. The Las Vegas Aces took Game 1 of the WNBA Finals from the Liberty, 99-82. Vegas now 6-0 this postseason. Vegas' hockey team, the Golden Knights, got their Stanley Cup rings last night. 12 carats of white and yellow diamonds, plus a removable top that can be worn as a pendant. And when that top is off, inside the ring, you see a replica of their rink. There are 9 stars on that mini ice for the 9 goals they scored in their clincher against the Panthers. And if all of that sounds great to you, the team's creating 50 near replicas of those rings that you can buy for $75,000.
Well, I mean, how much bigger can this get? You pull the ring off and it just folds out into a studio apartment. I mean, what's you get a car inside? I don't know what more they can do. They're just going to keep doing something.
Yeah,
top this.
I really would not want one of those rings. I feel it's more pressure. You bring it outside, aren't you afraid you're going to get robbed all the time?
I think if you're walking around and you play in the NHL, you're thinking no one has the stones to rob me.
Really?
Yes, I can fight at my work. I can get in fistfights with people as part of my job. Who's going to step to them?
Hockey players are not big, though. They're small and fast. I don't know.
But they're tough.
Yeah, but NFL players always get their rings stolen.
That's usually probably by women who are sleeping over. They leave the safe open. I'm sorry, that's just Le'Veon Bell.
Can I tell you one story you keep mentioning that I'm a little obsessed with now, and it doesn't make any sense? The Big 12 now has 6 out of the top 15 basketball programs from last year are in the Big 12. What the heck is going on? The Big 12, I know, is amazing in football, has no defense. This is bizarre to me. We had Brett Yormark, the new commissioner.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Scott Drew came and he signed a basketball for us.
Yeah.
And Bob Huggins before that all went south.
Isn't the Big 12 a football conference, and isn't ACC the basketball conference?
Perloff, you got to keep up, man. I mean, we're in uncharted waters.
And now, I'm sorry to go tangent here, Pac-12 is the most amazing football. What is going on? It's total chaos in college sports, and I kind of blame football.
Of course. Everything's upside down. It's all because of realignment.
And Dion.
I know. Dion, for once, actually not the story. They had a close win against Arizona State. Meanwhile, USC almost lost to Arizona.
Yeah.
Sort of pushed Deion a little bit off the front pages.
Yes, this is Washington, Oregon week at the Maggie and Perloff show. Maggie, lifelong Oregon fan.
This year.
Jumped
on the bandwagon this year.
I like the Ducks too, but I'll jump on the Huskies for the week. It is wartime.
There we go. Bogues, anything else? We good?
No, I'm good.
Fantastic. It is Maggie and Perloff, 855-212-4CBS. Can I quickly sneak in, is this Zaya in San Diego? Good morning, Zaya.
Good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm fine. I just wanted to chime in on my opinion of the Niners this morning.
What do you think? You got to have a very high opinion of the Niners this morning.
Yeah, I'm a diehard, and I feel like Brock Purdy's the best quarterback we've seen since Steve Young. I'm 35 years old. I've seen games since I was 5. I feel like anyone not giving Brock recognition as a top 10 quarterback at this point is just clickbaiting for themselves and has nothing good. If they don't have nothing good to say about him, then I feel like they're just doing it for their own personal recognition.
Well, Zaya, hold on. Hold on one second. Now, I'm not saying that you're not capable of winning a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. You absolutely are. He has obviously proven that. But he's getting put in the MVP conversation. Peter King's calling him the front runner for MVP after last night's game. Zaya, that's a little too far for me because the whole offense is so stacked.
The offense is stacked, and we see how Jimmy's doing in a situation that's not like that. But he is looking downfield more, and I mean the whole team is a number one ranked team. It's got to be the number one ranked team. Fred Warner, the whole defense, everything is awesome, and I just hope they stay healthy so we can see the benefits down the road.
Zaya, thank you so much for the phone call.
Well, what do you think, Maggie? You said that you don't think he's an MVP candidate. Are you okay with top 10 at this point?
Can I think about it? I got to do a little back of the envelope here. Listen, I don't think he's the MVP front runner.
Well, no. I mean, listen, Peter might say it, but he's 5th in odds.
Yeah, see, like, to me, and I get why everyone's high on Purdy today. I totally understand it, but look at what's actually going on. He makes like 4 good throws a game. In tight windows, when they really need it.
No, he gets so many first downs. I mean, he throws these screen passes. Those are good plays. It's not that easy to throw these little screen passes. There's a lot of quarterbacks who can't do that.
Well, I know, but in theory, this is also because of Shanahan and the offense and how many weapons they have and the offensive line that he makes those screen passes.
So Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Do you think that that's not because of Andy Reid?
Oh, I think that Mahomes would be successful in almost any, besides the real bottom dwellers in the NFL where nobody can be successful. I think if Mahomes was on the Bills would have had a Super Bowl by now.
If Andy Reid had Brock Purdy, they'd be a top 5 offense. And you know what I'm basing that on? Andy Reid has turned every quarterback into a top 5 offense. Go to A.J. Feely, go to Jeff Garcia, go to anybody. Andy Reid works magic too. It's symbiosis, Maggie.
I think we're figuring out who the guys are who can make any quarterback look good. Not any quarterback, but who can make good quarterbacks look even better. Andy Reid is one of those guys. Kyle Shanahan is one of those guys. Mike McDaniel is one of those guys. And Sean McVay is one of those guys.
Yeah.
And maybe the offensive coordinator for the Lions.
Bill Walsh was the most one of those guys, and he had Joe Montana and Steve Young, then he left. But, yeah, I don't think really you can judge. When you're looking at the MVP, no one's going to break it down and say this is because of Christian McCaffrey and because of George Kittle. They're going to say this guy has 33 touchdowns and 3 picks, and their team is 16-1.
But we know what we're seeing, right? It's not just about the numbers. Sometimes the numbers tell the story, but sometimes they don't. The yak numbers tell the story. The run game tells the story. The grade for PFF, what they give to the offensive line, tells the story. And Brock Purdy is also a big part of it. But MVP of the league, come on.
Well, okay, here's who's ahead of him. Well, Tua, that's not going to last. Josh Allen.
That's tough, I know.
Patrick Mahomes, I feel like the Chiefs are flirting with injuries every game, and Mahomes is holding the ball forever. And Jalen Hurts. I'm not quite sure why Jalen Hurts is still ahead of him. They've been kind of modest on offense. I think Purdy could jump a lot of those guys.
855-212-4CBS. We continue with the craziest thing we saw from this weekend. We do that next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Teams and smart front offices have to find a different way.
Yeah, that definitely could happen. But I think what I said about quarterbacks taking less is going to happen within 2 weeks. I think you're going to see Joe. We'll know who's right about this. I think Joe Burrow is going to take a pay cut. Yeah,
He's driving to Cincinnati.
Now it's hard to figure out the terms on this because what is less? I mean, these contracts are so complicated.
Let's do a show bet here. If Joe Burrow, you think he's going to take less than Justin Herbert? We have to figure out which metric we're going to use because there's guaranteed at signing, there's practical guarantees,
That's
there's
so hard.
Injury guarantees, average annual value.
I think he's going to take a deal that gives his team more cap flexibility than
That's
Justin
too
Herbert.
nebulous. It's got to be for the bet.
I think AAV, average annual value. I think that's
So Herbert's at 52.5 right now, which is the highest in
That's
the league.
kind of how we look at it. We look at either guaranteed, but guaranteed could be spread across 5 years, 10 years, whatever. So guaranteed is tough to look at also.
You got to be freaking Einstein to take apart
I think
these
just average yearly salary.
average annual. I will shake on this right now. You want to drive to Cincinnati?
I don't want to drive to Cincinnati on this one. I think we need something a little higher stakes than this.
How about like
I'll eat a bowl of Skyline
By the
chili.
way, these people are killing themselves on these scooters. I don't know why anyone would ride one of these. Anyway, okay, sorry.
So I think that Joe Burrow is going to come under the 52.5. And I think one of the reasons he's going to do it is because he's going to have more than 5 years. But
listen, here's the thing. I kind of want you to eat the Skyline chili. We've done a lot of food challenges around here, but only if you can do it with no hands.
That sounds fun.
Sure. So you'll do it too?
Sure. I mean, we promised we'd stay away from food challenges, and we didn't even make it 2 weeks.
Listen, we need like a big bowl though, because like once you get like halfway down, unless you have like a dog tongue lapping up the bottom of it.
You got to figure it out.
You need like a big bowl to get your whole face in there.
I think you can order that online too. You get frozen Skyline chili delivered.
Delivered from Cincinnati?
I'm almost sure you can do that.
Top 10 moments from Andrew Perloff's Skyline Chili Bet Payoff. Number 10.
With the cheese, he is very delicately breaking the film.
Number 9.
There is juice cascading off his nose.
It's good.
Number 8.
All the way in. Oh, we have spaghetti. He has found the pasta.
Number 7.
Another big bite. Oh, that's a lot of pasta.
You're really getting in there.
Number 6.
Why I didn't.
There we go. Slurping sound.
Good slurping.
Number 5.
Oh.
Number 4.
Oh my God.
That was a full open mouth tongue scoop of pasta. This
Number
is
3.
Oh, it's like he's a 4-year-old.
Number 2.
A bowl of chili anymore. Oh, our first rip of pasta.
And the number 1 moment from Andrew Perloff's Skyline
Now we're
Chili
making
Bet Payoff.
Noises as we gobble up. Oh, now it's over.
One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. New morning shows here on CBS Sports Radio. Although I feel like we're kind of initiated now. Like we're in it. We've Been doing it for a week.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I love doing afternoons, but I don't even remember what that was like.
I mean, you already put your face in a bowl of chili. Like, we've ingratiated ourselves
Still
into
finding
the audience.
chili oil in weird places.
Oh, gosh. We get to the Cowboys 49ers. A lot to get to from yesterday, but quickly, John is in Oregon. John, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. What do you have for us?
Well, okay, so full disclosure, I am a Lions fan.
Okay.
But I would like to mention, how good they look.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Campbell has turned that program around. I want to get your opinion on if the Lions go and they win out, is Dan Campbell in that Coach of the Year conversation?
Oh, my gosh. They should name the award after him. I mean, John,
Yeah.
think about what he's done, and I think it's overcoming not just how good they look and another big win yesterday against Carolina. So they should be Carolina by a lot at home, and they end up, killing them 42-24. But it's so, this because you're a Lions fan, John. It's so much to overcome a losing culture, and he's done that.
And he's just look excellent with his draft picks, with everything he's done with that organization. I mean, you believe in the Lions now, which is, I remember back when the Matthew Stafford trade with Goff, and look at how that's played out. Goff feels like he's a top 10 quarterback.
I know.
Am I wrong about that?
Thank you for the phone
Definitely
call.
the 8 to 12 area. I mean, he could be in the MVP race this year too. If they win at a really high rate, his numbers are awesome. You know the award that I'm watching for the Lions? It is such a crowded field for Defensive Player of the Year, but Aiden Hutchinson belongs right in that mix. Did you see that interception he had? It was unbelievable. Has tackles for loss and sacks all the time. He's a superstar. How the Jags passed on him at number 1 and let him fall to the Lions was unfair.
It is crazy. All right, we're going to try out a little something now because there were so many mind-boggling, mind-numbing coaching decisions yesterday. We're going to start a little something called Coaching or Choking. Ryan Hickey is here to give us a few of the situations from this weekend. We'll tell you if it was actually just coaching or whether they were choking. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Maggie. Let's start with maybe the most difficult one here. Miami, the Hurricanes, are winning on Saturday. The clock is running. They're playing Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, no timeouts. All Miami has to do, knee the ball, the game is over. Instead, what does Mario Cristobal do? Run the ball with the running back, fumble. Georgia Tech then recovers it. 2 plays later, 75 yards, touchdown. Miami had the win if they knee, lost the game. Coaching or choking?
I mean, it's 48 hours later, and I still can't believe what we saw. I think Mario Cristobal, who was never known as an X's and O's guru, but a great recruiter, I think this stays with him for the rest of his life. Even if he wins a national championship, I think we still talk about this ridiculousness. If he was ever an heir, Perloff, to maybe Nick Saban's throne in Alabama in the future, I think this took him out of the running.
See, I disagree because apparently he did the same exact thing at Oregon, the same exact thing, handed the ball off and lost the game when he should have been kneeling, and we didn't remember that. So if he was a national champ, first of all, Miami wasn't going anywhere this year, so I kind of disagree with that take. But I think you need to establish the run. I like that he was running the ball with
2 hands
30
on the
seconds
ball
left.
is what he said.
People, you want your Bills to run the ball. Why don't Miami? No, this was, first of all, this was coaching, 1,000% coaching.
Also, how could you say Miami wasn't going anywhere? They were ranked 17th going into this game. They had already beat A&M at home. But you know what I'm saying. This was like a sign that the program was moving up and up. All right, next one, Ryan. What do you got?
All right, sick in college football. Jimbo Fisher, big chance to get a statement win on Saturday against Alabama. Very conservative late in the game, not using his timeouts wisely, kicking a field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 2, and then decides an onside kick at the end of the game. Jimbo Fisher, his conservative play calling, especially late in the game, coaching, good coaching decision, or flat out choked it?
I mean, these are easy. Jimbo and Nick were having a bad coach off the entire second half. Both teams look incredibly undisciplined and messy. Jimbo, he came on for one of the in-game interviews. I'm like, oh, he's just lost right now. That is unraveling at A&M. I don't see any way that he's not part of their future, is he?
I don't think so. I think he still has that massive buyout, though, that could be keeping him.
Yeah, but it's A&M. They have more money and they're the biggest school. They have more oil money. They're fine.
I guess so. I can't imagine this went over well. And for Jimbo Fisher, listen, I get it. You want to be able to play conservatively, but look at the message that it sends. Like, you at one point, you had Bama. Like, you had him on the ropes and you're home, and then you just turtle up and you do this conservative play calling, definitely choking. Hickey, what's next?
All right, let's up the ante then, so we're getting called out. Let's go to the NFL. Okay. Ravens, Steelers, a big one here. Late in the first half, Ravens have a chance to put points on the board. They're beating the Steelers 10-3. Points were at a premium in that game. 4th and 2 from the Steelers' 31-yard line. You're in field goal range. 13 seconds left. You have Justin Tucker. What does John Harbaugh do? Goes for it on 4th and 2. Ravens do not get it. Go into the half with 0 points. Good coaching decision, or is that a choke job?
Definitely choking. Steelers' defense is really good. The offense stinks, but the defense is good. And T.J. Watt had himself a day yesterday. Joey Porter's really coming on. I mean, this is a game that was so obvious to take the under in this game. It was like glaring, and to not take a field goal when, as Ryan said, points are at a premium, thought this was total choke job.
That was crazy, especially when you have Justin Tucker, right? I mean, the
automatic.
And also Pittsburgh's offense was doing nothing. I don't agree. I mean, the Ravens were manhandling the Steelers defense in the first half. They out-yardaged them 244-88, and that was after how many drop touchdowns were there in the first half alone? There were probably 3 drop touchdowns in the first half, and they had 244 total yards, so they just thought they could move it at will. Then the second half was the exact opposite. Yep. They couldn't do anything because Lamar got so frustrated. He was holding on to the ball, and T.J. Watt eventually got to him. So, by the way, I don't know if you're getting it. Nathaniel Hackett did the same thing with the Jets, where they blew a chance for a end-of-half field goal. Just take the points, people.
Well, the other crazy thing that happened at the end of that game was how much time was left? Like maybe a minute and a half or something, or maybe it was a little bit more. And the Steelers had the ball, and the Ravens had 2 timeouts. And the Steelers started to kneel down.
Wait, which series of kneel downs are you talking about? Because they had 2 complete kneel down series.
Well, what happened was they ended up getting called for a penalty, I believe, for like an illegal formation. And so it stopped the clock. So they weren't able to do make the Ravens burn their timeouts. But it was such a bizarre thing. I know, obviously, no one wants to be Mario Cristobal in this situation, but it was like the opposite. Like, you shouldn't have taken the knee there. You actually need to run a couple plays, and they didn't do it.
It was bizarre. I had trouble
following. Didn't end up mattering,
that.
But
I was watching multiple games. That was sort of at the end of a bunch of games, and I did not understand. I'm like, wait, weren't they just in victory formation? Yes. Then I come back, and the ball is in Baltimore's hands. Yeah, it's funny because Harbaugh and Tomlin have met 34 times.
Yeah.
2 potential Hall of Fame coaches. Neither of them were game managing at all toward the end. It was a disaster.
It was very interesting. All right, Hickey, what else?
To just put a capper on that, the Steelers got the ball 1:02 left in the fourth quarter, and the Ravens got the ball 49 seconds left.
Yeah, right.
So that was what,
and they didn't even use that many timeouts.
2 timeouts out of there, and still 13 seconds came off.
I've never seen that backfire like that.
Poor.
But then it didn't matter because the Ravens couldn't do anything on offense. Got any more for us?
Last one here. Let's go back to college football. We talked about a bad defense in the Broncos. Maybe the only defense in all of football worse is USC's defense. Arizona in the Coliseum, chance to upset the number 9 team in the country in overtime. USC gets the ball, score a touchdown. Arizona gets the ball. They score a touchdown. Now, do you go for 2 or go for the PAT? Arizona chance to win the game from the 2-yard line, kicks the PAT. Coaching right there or choking, they eventually lose in overtime, 43-41.
This is so painful. I mean, did Brian Kelly teach you nothing? I mean, or you can go a million different coaches. You have to go for the 2-point conversion there on the road. You got to try to get the win and get the heck out of there. And what happened? 2 more overtimes later, 3 total, and USC wins the game.
Yeah, but I think we're playing the result a little bit here.
No, I think you got to go for it right there.
I don't know.
Isn't this what Brian Kelly did last year at Alabama? Against Alabama?
Yeah, but he had Jaden Daniels. I'm not sure. I feel like it's a bit of a coin toss. I'm not going to kill Arizona for
Top
this one.
10 team on the road you're facing with a horrible defense. Again, the ball's at the 2-yard line. One play, you win the game.
Yeah, but you also have, how many times did they scored again in overtime? It's not like USC could stop them.
I know, but this was the time when didn't it flip where they got the ball
Yeah.
first?
So what is
the
the new rule, by the
overtime?
way? On the second overtime, you have to go for 2, right?
And then the third overtime, which just got to, then it's a 2-point conversion contest.
Yep.
Each team gets a chance. USC got it. Arizona didn't.
And why do you guys think that USC had such an advantage? Because they have Caleb Williams. I feel like Arizona was doing whatever they wanted offensively as well.
Yeah, but because they have Caleb Williams, yes. I mean, I don't know. I think you're in that situation where you can taste it. All you have to do is you need your best play of the year from the 2-yard line. You have to have that in your play sheet.
And by the way, I apologize. I did not see this, but I assume Arizona missed a 2-point conversion, and that's why they lost, right?
Both teams missed a 2-point conversion in the second overtime. That's why I got to the third.
Yeah.
And in the third one, Arizona missed again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they missed 2-point conversions. So they're obviously not that good at these 2-point conversions.
Every coach has got to have one, got to have it play. Like, you have to have the secret up your sleeve. You know, we know this is going to work 100 times out of 100.
Well, clearly they don't have that because they failed on 2 of these.
They need it.
Well, anyway, you say that. How many times has the Bills not hit a
Thank
4th
you.
and 1?
You're going to make it personal. 855-212-4CBS.
Gotta have it played. Get out of here.
855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, Cowboys, 49ers. What did we learn last night? Well, it was a big, big wake-up call for Dallas. We get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She once fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome into the show. Big time flop for the Dallas Cowboys last night. San Francisco has their way defensively, offensively. Did special teams even come into effect here? I don't know. The coaching clearly all on the side of San Francisco, Perloff. But here's where I will not go with the Dallas conversation. I thought the defense did everything they could, which I know the numbers are going to look skewed, and Brock Purdy looks like he put up an incredible performance because he did. But I thought the defense in the first half at least was trying to keep this thing competitive. The offense for the Cowboys could not get a first down until halfway through the second quarter. They did no favors for their defense. I'm more willing to criticize the offense for the Dallas Cowboys this morning than the defense, even though the score was 42-10, so it looks like the defense had an awful day.
Yeah, but the defense had trouble getting the Niners off the field.
So does everybody.
I think that's an odd way to look at it because I thought San Francisco's offense just jumped out immediately. It became quite clear that Brock Purdy was comfortable against the vaunted Cowboys pass rush.
Okay, they have so many different weapons, right? And so many different ways to beat you. And the moment that Brock Purdy even miscues by a hair, they just go directly to the ground game. Yeah. And they're able to set up the ground game so it's not like a Derrick Henry situation where you know exactly what's happening, where he's getting the ball. They're just able to move you and move the defense totally off its spot. Yep. And I think about the Dallas D, it was 7-0, okay? 7-0. Then the teams traded punts. And then Dallas was able to get the ball, and it looked like maybe they could mount some kind of drive. And then the Tony Pollard fumble out of the sideline set up the 49ers, who then gave the Cowboys back the ball with a fumble, but it was like on their own 2-yard line. It was so hard for the offense to do anything against this defense. It put the Cowboys defense in such a terrible position because the offense, there was no balance whatsoever.
I don't know. I was just watching the highlights in the background. It sure looked like San Francisco was moving the ball at will. I mean, at will. There was very few unsuccessful pass plays. Chris Collinsworth said the key was that the San Francisco was blocking Dallas in ways they had no idea where it was coming. Yeah. So basically, DeMarcus Lawrence would be rushing the passer and someone would hit him out of the blue.
Right.
They're moving guys all around. Shanahan just a masterclass last night on both sides of the ball. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you ready to completely buy my theory, longstanding theory, that players on the Dallas roster are overrated because of the star in their helmet?
Okay, so you have this theory.
Yes.
I think it's spawned out of your Eagles fandom.
No.
No. But here's the question.
That's a good theory, but no, that's not why.
Okay, but here's the question about overrating the Dallas Cowboy players simply because they play for Dallas. It's not helping guys get into the Hall of Fame anymore. It's not the guys from the championship years. They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. DeMarcus Ware deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. It's not like
he wasn't on any championship team.
No, he wasn't on any championship teams, but he played in Dallas and deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Who's not being helped by having that star? They all are going to get in the Hall of Fame because of the star.
No, but who's getting in?
Well, Micah Parsons everyone's put him in the Hall of Fame already.
Well, okay, he's got a long way to go. I'm just saying I don't think that Dallas Cowboys players are getting into the Hall of Fame any more frequently than, and I guess that would be the biggest help, wouldn't it?
No, I just think because they're not Hall of Famers. I think on a daily basis we overrate because the Cowboys get so much more attention. They probably get as much attention as the other 31 teams combined.
Yeah, because their fan base is everywhere.
It's kind of like Notre Dame football and Duke basketball. You see that uniform, you're like, oh, that's a star. So we turn these people into stars when they're not stars. We've already compared Micah Parsons to Lawrence Taylor about 1,000 times. If Micah Parsons played on the Lions or was in Carolina, there's no way any of that was happening. We just get all this hype and these comparisons because of Dallas.
I'm not willing to go there. I think Micah Parsons is really good. I think that there's been 2 games so far this year that I guess he's been kind of taken out of the game a little bit. It was the Arizona Cardinals that did a pretty nice job, and now the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not ready to write off Micah Parsons. Nobody, like the Lawrence Taylor's comparisons were always, I thought, a little bit premature, of course, right?
I didn't hear you say that after he looked like Lawrence Taylor against the Giants.
Well, I mean, and it was also against the Giants, so it was convenient to call him the next Lawrence Taylor.
But I'm looking at all these guys that I was told were so good, like Michael Gallup. I mean, he stinks. Or you look at on the defensive side of the ball, everyone's talking about Leighton Vander Esch is supposed to be so good.
Okay, but how many All-Pros and Pro Bowls are they making? I think you're mistaking people out there.
They all make the Pro Bowls.
Quote unquote people talking to. How many Pro Bowls Michael Gallup made?
Well, I mean, Vander Esch has made a Pro Bowl. DeMarcus Lawrence has made multiple Pro Bowls.
I think DeMarcus Lawrence
there's a lot of Pro Bowlers on this team.
I think, Vander Esch, we know, is always a neck injury waiting to happen, unfortunately. I don't mean to sound callous there.
Well, he got hurt last night,
Yeah, and he got hurt again. Unfortunately, this has been an ongoing issue for him. And DeMarcus Lawrence at one point was an All-Pro, and I think was playing like an All-Pro. I didn't think that was the star. I don't think anyone ever thought Michael Gallup. I mean, maybe
DeMarcus
a number
was
2.
Like the second highest paid defensive player in the league.
Okay, but guys get paid because of timing and because of what they mean to a certain defense.
I don't know. You can't say that they don't make the Pro Bowl. 7 Cowboys made the Pro Bowl last year.
Okay, they also won how many games last
12
year?
games.
They won 12 games.
Yeah, I think Trayvon Diggs, we were told, was a big superstar. I'm just not sure. I just think that we jump.
Season-ending injury. Let's not kick the guy while he's down.
So you don't think there's any overhype about the Cowboys?
I definitely think that there is some overhype, but I don't think it's, the players stink and we actually think
I'm not saying
good.
they stink. I think we overemphasize the stardom of the Dallas Cowboys players, and I think we've done it for, I don't know, about 40 years.
Ironically, it's the one place where you actually are higher on a player than probably everyone else. You are a big Dak Prescott defender, and that's the guy who I think most people would say he's getting the extra hype because he's a Cowboys.
Right.
He's the Cowboys quarterback. He doesn't deserve it. And that, ironically, he's the one guy you like off this team.
I think he's a better player than people give credit for.
Exactly, which is funny. I mean, no one else thinks that.
He'd never be the most marketable quarterback if he wasn't in Dallas. He's got like all these gigantic national sponsors. None of that would happen if he wasn't in Dallas.
Well,
he was in
not
Carolina.
anymore than Travis Kelce. I mean, Kelsey's got the most right now.
No,
Gotta be.
I'm not even sure. I saw Dak all over the TV yesterday, like Sleep Number and Oikos and all these other things.
Oh my God! But come on, bro. Nobody has more national commercials right now than Kelsey.
What is Travis? He has 2.
He's got State Farm. And we're just going to give them free publicity now.
What's he doing for State Farm?
He does the thing with Mahomes.
Oh, he's in on State Farm now?
Yes, it's that commercial that runs a million times. Mahomes, my auto. I can't believe we're just giving them free ads.
That's all because of Mahomes. Andy Reid, that's not his.
The Pfizer.
He's got his Pfizer and some fake financial product, Excelsior or something.
Yeah, right. He's got another thing where he's multitasking. Is that the one? He's like in a hot air balloon.
I think that's Excelsior.
Okay, whatever.
But
never even heard of that company.
Don't underestimate. Dak Prescott gets a lot of TV time.
Okay, he should, but that's what I'm saying. He's the one guy. He's the one guy who I think you could say, all right, he gets the cowboy bump. Because I never thought that Dak Prescott was a top 10 quarterback, and you always did.
You don't think Parsons has gotten, listen, he had 37 touchdowns and 10 picks 2 years ago. That's no bump. You don't think that Micah Parsons gets a Cowboys bump?
No, I think Parsons is actually a good player. I think he's a real good player.
I know he's a really good player, but he's already being compared to the greatest defensive player of all time. And not just once or twice, but weekly, he gets compared to Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, well, that's just maybe the media being hyperbole. But I think when you're a good player, especially in this day and age, I think you're known about. I mean, We talked about Aiden Hutchinson. Like, he's playing on the Lions, who are really good right now. We all know about Aiden Hutchinson. You can say go back to Carolina. We knew about Luke Kuechly. Like, we know when these guys are really good, they stand out. I think if Micah Parsons was on a different team, we'd still know how good he is.
Okay, obviously Luke Kuechly is a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. My point is that good players get a lot more attention when they're in Dallas. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. I think that kind of follows because they're so popular. And I think in many, many ways. I just think the league also takes the Cowboys more seriously. Like, I think we were overhyped on the Cowboys this year. The Niners were like, this is the game of the year because the Cowboys were coming in. Like, I do think they just have a lot of energy around them.
Well, there's another part, which is they've met in the playoffs the last 2 years. And San Francisco has ended the Cowboys season the last 2 years. And at least one of those games had a very controversial ending with the Dak Prescott slide. So, that builds on it too. It's not just because it's Dallas. It's the history of these two teams, even going back to the 90s.
I think the Niners see all the TV coverage, just like everyone saw the TV coverage with Deion Sanders in Colorado. I think the Cowboys come in there and everyone knows they're coming. Like, there's no when the Cowboys come in, it is not an off week. There's no one's flat for the Cowboys because they are such a big attention team.
That's true, but that's just because the fan base is all over the country. I mean, listen, when the 49ers opened the season in Pittsburgh, that was a big game. Now, the 49ers have made it not a game because they won so easily, but yes, that was one of the biggest games of the opening weekend.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, though, you couldn't watch it after 5 minutes. It was over.
It was over in the first quarter, but, I mean, that's up to the players. Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Francois is in Dallas. Good morning, Francois.
Hey, good morning, guys. I really appreciate you taking my call. Can I make 2 comments?
Sure, go ahead.
And you guys put me on hold so I can hear your response. First of all, I'm going to address what you said, I think, and I'm an objective Cowboy fan.
Okay.
But I think their performance on the football field does not match their marketability. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's obvious. And against the San Francisco 49ers, it's also obvious that their defense was overrated. I've told everybody that since training camp, right? And when they played Arizona, they got exposed. An elite defense does not give up 222 yards rushing to an average Arizona team with a backup quarterback.
I know,
You're
but
not elite.
No, I get it, Francois. I think that there were some excuses built in for the Cowboys. Not fair. I'm not taking the blame away. I mean, they weren't ready for that game. They didn't show up, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, Arizona, they should have known, is not going away quietly in these games.
And I agree with your partner when he says that, the 49ers moved the football at will on the Cowboys. I'll give you an example. When Dak threw the touchdown pass to Turpin in the corner of the end zone, that made it 14-7.
Yeah.
At that point in the game, they had a shot. If a defense is elite, they rise to the occasion on that next drive and they stop the 49ers 3 and out and get their offensive football back. But what happened? The 49ers went right down the field and went up 21-7. At that point, the game was over.
I know, but think about it also. Yes, you're right about that. And I know Dallas could be their own worst enemy sometimes, but they may have had them at the 3rd and 4. Purdy has the incomplete pass, and they get the penalty with the unnecessary roughness call. I mean, that was part of it with Dallas, too. They couldn't get off the field, but that was like there were chances there. There were legit chances, and there were times when Dallas just committed stupid penalties. I think the defense, Francois, I think that's where you and I are going to disagree. But thank you so much for making the phone call. He's right. There was a chance there, and on that crucial 3rd down, they get called for the unnecessary roughness call, and then it was to the races there with San Francisco.
How many times did they sack Purdy yesterday?
Once.
I mean, Purdy did.
I think once.
I just couldn't believe in that first drive how comfortable Purdy was, and. That's, again, I know you don't want to be MVP,
but those are all scripted play,
But he looks like a veteran. There's just like an old veteran. There's so much poise back there. He didn't feel like he didn't look bothered on a single play.
Okay, but he scored, very easily on that opening drive, but then back-to-back, punts after that.
And even those drives,
and then a fumble.
Yeah, but he didn't look bad at all on those drives. They were playing somewhat conservatively. Once they had the lead, too, I don't know. I just didn't feel like you can't judge the defense positively on that game by any means. Maybe neutral at best, but this is supposed to be an elite defense.
I felt that the offense let them down last night because how many 3 and outs, Perloff? How many 3 and outs? They could not get any kind of balance going. Mike is in West Virginia. I'll answer you. I'll answer my own question. 11 possessions where Dak Prescott was in at quarterback. 9 of them ended with 3 plays or fewer. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. I just heard Perloff talking about Micah Parsons and making that comparison about him being a standout linebacker because he plays for the Cowboys. But if he had played for the Bears or somebody else, that he wouldn't be as big of a deal in the NFL. But you got to remember, Mac played for the Bears after the Raiders, and he was just as big of a deal playing for the Raiders, the Bears, and now look what he did with the Chargers. He had 6 sacks here just a couple weeks ago. I think Micah Parsons would be that same type of linebacker no matter where he went.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Perloff to an extent that because he plays for the Cowboys, he gets a little bit more recognition. Because of the celebrities and how the star and all that. I do agree a little bit, but I think Micah Parsons would have done great no matter where he went. And my second thing is on the Niners offense.
Yeah.
If you paid attention to the game, they loaded 3 receivers up on one side. They ran 2 as a fly pattern going straight out deep. It took the safeties way back. All the underneath defense was still up close to the line, and they had one guy curl in the middle of the field all night, was wide open all night.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
and Mike, thank you for the call and the breakdown there. Clearly, you know your football. I think that's why that Purdy MVP stuff is a little hard for me, right?
Yeah.
Because he's actually forced to make like 4 throws into tight windows all game. The other stuff, it's open, and forgive me, it does look easy. It does look like scheme.
Yeah, but if the defense didn't think Purdy could throw that long pass, they wouldn't leave all that room in that intermediate area. They would start moving up. But Purdy the last couple of weeks has shown that he can throw that long pass, which is pretty unbelievable because he's not a big guy.
And he doesn't have a big arm, but it's big enough.
It seems big enough. Also, guys get to the NFL and throw every day, and their arm is always fine. When Ayuk catches that ball in the middle or Debo, and they're just running wild.
Forget it.
How many actual seconds are they running in the secondary? It feels like every time it's an adventure to try and tackle them.
Well, that's why they're the yak guys, the yards after the catch. And then as soon as Kittle gets behind the defense, it's like, forget it.
I mean, I do think the yak is a big part of being a good quarterback. Basically, we've all seen bad quarterbacks who screw up the yak by throwing it a foot behind.
Yep.
So I think Purdy gets a lot of credit. He puts a very catchable ball out there that they can run with. Don't dismiss that. I know they have a lot of yak, but he gets some credit too.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. So much more to do, including, a big and very disappointing weekend for one major college football program. We get to that in just moments. Don't move. Maggie, Perloff, and you on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Today's Monday Night Football preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Maggie, we have a battle of 2 and 2. Oh, we have a battle between two teams trying to get back on the winning track, Packers and Raiders in Vegas. Jimmy G and company are a slight 1.5-point favorite on FanDuel, but have lost 3 in a row. Meanwhile, Green Bay traded wins and losses this season 2-2, but coming off a 34-20 setback to the Lions in Week 4. I'm so fascinated with this game. Want to see Davante Adams, put him up on the trade market. Want to see Jordan Love at prime time.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is going to be disappointing. It's probably going to be an ugly game, but I'm really excited for this one for some reason.
I'm excited for it too. I did make a prediction preseason that Davante Adams was going to ask for a trade before this game, that it was going to be a report by Lisa Salters on the Monday Night Sideline. I don't know if my prediction is going to come true, but I do think if the Raiders lose this game, you're just going to have more teams calling about Davante Adams.
Yeah, I mean, he said he let it out there via Schefter or somebody that he's not going to go anywhere, and he loves Aiden O'Connell.
Sure. Let's see how it goes tonight. Let's see what happens. Listen, the thing about Davante Adams, he's always going to get his, right? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He could love you and me as quarterback. He's going to get like 8 targets for, 100 yards receiving.
Well, we love Aiden O'Connell's mustache, so
Wow.
I'm excited to see that. I have a friend who's a hairdresser, my friend Eli.
Yeah.
And he said Aiden O'Connell's problem is not the mustache. He said his haircut does not go well with the mustache. It's a combo look that is killing him. He needs a new haircut.
It's a great point. You can't have a shaved head and the crustache. You look like you just robbed a Quickie Mart. Like, you have to be able, you need a little more look if you're going to go for all that look, you know?
I think a 6'4" Raiders quarterback could not get away with robbing the Quickie Mart. You'd recognize him. Like, isn't that the guy who was at Purdue?
That'd be something. Okay, before we get to Bogusch and the headlines, Perloff, this was a massive one. Just when you think Texas is back, they go out and do something like this, which is lose the Red River Shootout. Unbelievable game. I mean, Dillon Gabriel, who has been in college forever, it seems like, 3 years at UCF and now his second year at Oklahoma, but never really had this like Heisman moment. And that final drive was pretty amazing. 5 plays. They go 75 yards in a minute. They just completely stunned Texas. And you know, I thought that Sarkisian really played with fire a little bit. When they had their drive, which took it down to basically like a minute 17 left, they essentially settled for a 47-yard field goal when they kind of stopped getting aggressive there. And credit to Bert Auburn, their kicker, all-time name, who nailed the 47-yarder but just left way too much time on the clock.
Yeah, see, the question, is Texas back? Was this typical Texas blowing it? I think they lost to a very good team here.
They did.
I think there's 2 even teams, and I don't think Texas is done by any means. They can get in the playoff with 1 loss. They could see Oklahoma again in the Big 12 title game. I'm not sure they will, but I do think that I don't blame Sark on this one. I think they were outplayed. I think Dillon Gabriel's outstanding. I mean, I think he might be a future NFL quarterback. I know he's very short, but he throws a rocket football.
Yeah, the lefty.
Yeah, I love lefties.
You do love
lefty in anything. And, you know, Texas
are
is
you
really,
a lefty? Is that why you love lefty? Okay.
I'm not. I just enjoy watching. I enjoy Tua. I enjoy Zion Williamson. Anybody who does
Our guy
something.
Boomer down the hall?
Yeah. I loved Boomer when he was a player. I mean, I still love Boomer. Can you edit that out of the podcast? No. Bryce Harper, obviously. Ryan Howard. Anyway. I thought that was not really all on Texas. I thought Oklahoma earned the win. Do you think that was Texas blowing it?
Oh, come on. I mean, it was tough. I think they had it was a 3rd and 10, right? But even the 2nd and 13 to pass for just 3 yards, and then the 3rd and 10 set up a run play there.
They scored 30 points.
I know, but in that crucial moment, we're talking about coaching versus choking.
Yeah, but you in that position when you're leading, like, you got to be a little conservative. You can't just like let it loose.
I was stunned, but listen, this is for Oklahoma. Can we hear from Brent Venables, please? Pete says Saturday showed what this team is capable of.
Our guys have an unshakable belief, I know that. And what a display, and so incredibly proud of them, the coaches. I love what we're building, and as we've said for a while now, again, there's no limits on what this team can do, and no excuses either. We got everything that we need. We're certainly not there. There's plenty that we'll have to improve and get better at.
I mean, they've got another big game, at least on the schedule, Kansas coming up in 2 weeks. But, I mean, UCF, West Virginia, BYU, TCU. This is setting up nicely here for Oklahoma.
Right. So I'm assuming if Texas can go on a run, maybe we get a rematch and the winner just goes into the Final Four. That'd be fun. We haven't seen that in a long time.
Texas is not lucky. I mean, they beat Alabama fair and square, but to have that Alabama win in your back pocket, and for Alabama, well, it didn't look awesome against A&M. They keep winning, which helps Texas and helps make that win look better and better.
And it was at Alabama. So Texas has Houston, BYU, Kansas. They don't have any rank. TCU, Iowa State, Texas Tech. They have no excuse not to go on a run to the title game. That would be I would love a rematch. Red River rivalry too. Do you call it the Red River rivalry if it's in the Big 12 title game? Is it still called the same thing?
Oh, that's a good question. I think so. I think it's the Red River no matter where it's held, right? Cotton Bowl or otherwise.
Where is the Big 12 title game?
It's in Dallas. Or
close
I guess
enough.
Technically Arlington.
But that's
Jerry World,
15 minutes away from the Cotton Bowl. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think we're there. It's the same geographical location. If it was like in Vegas or something. Like,
Yeah, this is one of the problems with everyone has a conference title game now that's 1 versus 2. I don't want to see Michigan, Ohio State back to back. They kind of
I do. I'd rather do that than see the winner of Michigan, Ohio State have to play some random Big Ten team.
I think it kind of waters down the big rivalry game.
Andrew Bogusch is here with some headlines while we mull over that. Good morning, Bogusch.
Good morning. I'm in a big, deep Red River rivalry rabbit hole trying to find out.
Wow.
I think only the regular season game would count towards like the actual record of the head-to-head.
But we'd probably call
definitely.
it the showdown 2 or rivalry 2.
Whatever. And they changed it again. It's back to rivalry because shootout was no longer PC.
Right.
I knew
And they were-
shootout had to go.
Yeah.
But showdown came in at one point.
But now we're back to rivalry,
All right.
which is not easy to say. All three of those things.
I hate
Yeah,
Too many
especially after a
R's.
couple fried fireball shots. I mean, geez, I'm surprised anybody could stand.
Meanwhile, we're all in agreement now, right? The NFC goes through San Francisco. That's indisputable. The Niners.
No, we are not.
indisputable.
Indisputable.
Oh,
It's
I'm sorry.
science.
How many losses do the Eagles have in the loss column?
Stand
That's
by.
a 0.
Stand by. The Niners put a 42-10 thumping on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Dallas had allowed 41 points total entering the night. Kyle Shanahan's team is definitely 5-0.
Our guys definitely haven't been satisfied. They feel like we can get a lot better. Feel like we're going to get better throughout the year too. But today was pretty darn good. But we felt our whole team hadn't played a complete game yet, and it looked like that today.
Brock Purdy threw 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to George Kittle. The defense had 4 takeaways, including 3 picks of Dak Prescott. They also sacked him 3 times. It was 14-0 before Dallas got its first down. More post-game deep analysis from Mike McCarthy.
It clearly just shows where we are as a team. We're 3-2.
Thank you for nothing. The 32-point defeat is Dallas's worst since 2013. Arguably less impressively, the Eagles also 5 for 5 this season after a 23-14 W on the Rams field. Jalen Hurts not satisfied with their play yet.
We just need to continue to put it all together. Obviously, winning is the main thing, and I'll say that day in and day out.
Hurts threw for a score, ran for another. The Philly D did not allow a point after halftime.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
We'll do for 4 quarters.
How about Cooper Kupp? 8
wait, by the way.
receptions, 118 yards. It was like, and Puka had 7. It's like they got 2 of the same guy out there.
I was screaming at my TV. I'm like, way to give us some time to ramp it up, Cooper. You're immediately awesome.
I know.
The Athletic says the Colts are waiting on MRI results on Anthony Richardson. The fear remains. The rookie QB suffered a grade 3 shoulder sprain and will miss at least 4 weeks. Richardson hurt on a run in the second quarter of a 23-16 win over the Titans. QB Daniel Jones, the Giants, gets an MRI today for yesterday's neck injury. It came when he was sacked for a 6th time. And we also need an update today on Vikings wideout Justin Jefferson's hamstring. The Baltimore Orioles officially in trouble.
The 3-1. Swinging a high fly ball deep out into left field. Hayes going back. Mitch Garver, can you take me higher? You most definitely can. A grand slam for Mitch Garver to give Texas a 9-2 lead.
Which became an 11-8 win at Camden Yards, which means a 2-0 lead in this best of 5. That call from Rangers Radio. The Twins, 6-2 winners in Houston to split their first 2. Game 2 of Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Diamondbacks come today. The Big 12 reportedly making another move on Gonzaga women's soccer. They are currently 10-2-1, receiving votes in the national poll. That team and men's basketball could be Big 12 members by next fall. The NHL season begins tomorrow night. The NBA preseason heating up. New Celtic Kristaps Porzingis had 17 points in a 114-106 home win over the Sixers, and Bradley Beal scored 11 in the Suns' 130-126 OT win in Detroit. The Aces drawing first blood in the WNBA Finals, 99-82 over the Liberty, 26 points apiece from Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young. And there was a NASCAR race yesterday at the Roval near Charlotte. A.J. Allmendinger won the race. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace among those that failed to advance to the round of 8 in their postseason. Guys, back to you.
So that was a call, going back to the baseball call. That was a Creed reference? Can you take me higher? Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like this.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go there.
Yeah. Wow, Ryan Hickey, you really felt that.
I mean, if we could recreate right now the halftime show from like 20 years ago, we can like fly in the air. I'm in.
Wow.
It's a good song.
I thought that everyone kind of didn't like Creed.
No, only Hickey does. Now, my question would be, does Mitch or Garver lead to Creed? Is that a specific
Well, that's what I was wondering. I'm like,
and he's a huge baseball guy, right? Scott Stapp. Didn't he throw out the ball for the Marlins all the time? Like, goes to all sorts of baseball games?
That I can't help you with.
probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you totally butcher the first pitch, I'm not watching.
Yeah, no, I think he loves baseball. So, but Miami Marlins, as I recall, I could be totally misremembering this whole thing.
The fact that you know any of that is amazing. I mean, who knew any of it? Meanwhile, the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio is where you can watch the show if you'd like to. Of course, our incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates, we appreciate them so much. There's been Perloff, you mentioned you had a friend who's a hairstylist.
Yeah.
A barber.
Yeah,
who
Eli.
said the problem with Aiden O'Connell is not just the mustache, but it's the haircut with the mustache. He's got a buzz cut.
Yeah.
So some chatter has broken out in the chat. How much do you pay for a haircut? The chat thinks you pay quite a bit.
Me?
Yeah.
No. I pay my friend Seth.
Okay.
I pay him, it depends, about $50.
Yeah, that's what they
And
said, $50.
And I go to his house. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I feel like
Yeah.
for a man, that's kind of a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Bogish, what are you doing?
But he's my wife's hairdresser, and like
He's doing you a favor.
yeah.
So I paid $26 the other day, but I asked the guy to trim my beard, which took like 35 seconds, and he tacked on $18. And I thought I was downsizing.
Not fair.
Because the last time I went, I got like the full thing, like the hot towel. All of a sudden, he was like massaging my face, and that was like another $25. That at least seemed like it was money. This
That's
was literally
a spa day.
him taking a comb and like just zipping off some loose hairs, and it was $44 altogether. I'm like, where did that come from? But still less than a
escalated
haircut.
quickly. You got both, and that was less than Perloff.
Yeah.
Man. All right.
So doing some research, Scott Stapp wrote a song for the Marlins called "The Marlins Will Soar," the lead singer of Creed.
Wow.
I got to find it. It sounds so much like that song that you were playing, "Will You Take Me Higher?" Every Creed song sounds exactly the same.
Yeah, they're basically doing the same thing.
They kind of sound like the band Alive. That sounds the same too.
True. But we're also still not to Mitch Garver or the Rangers.
Yeah.
So this is just a random reference. I think that's Eric Nadel on the Rangers broadcast. So that's just him throwing that in there with no real direct connection to Garver. Unless he loves Creed. That could be the one caveat.
I fear, though, Bilotti, was that you who played the Creed song? I fear that's going to get stuck in everyone's head for the rest of the day.
Oh, I'm
Our
sorry,
audience.
America.
Yeah, I think
Sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
we owe a mea culpa to America for that.
Listen, it's not like we were playing like the Cardigans, Love Me, Love Me. I would never do that to anybody.
Oh, it sounds like we have a little bit of the Marlins Will Soar.
Let's play ball, it's game day.
Oh, God.
We want strikeouts, base hits, double plays.
It's worse than you could imagine.
Take the field, hear the roar of the crowd. Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
Oh, my gosh. Why is this so on the nose? All right. I think we've had enough of that.
That was awesome.
That was basically take me out to the ball game. Like, why were they it's so much baseball reference. You need some little innuendo, like get a little artistic on this thing.
That was kind of like Eddie Vedder singing for the Cubs, inspired. Remember, Vedder will always sing for the Cubs. I don't know. I kind of liked it. I thought Marlins Will Soar was catchy. I might add that to my library.
That was like third grade level songwriting. It was all like entry level stuff. You expect a little more expertise.
I don't see you out there writing songs for your favorite
Stapp.
teams. Who's your baseball team? The Mets?
But the Mets have one of the great anthems. Well, not Meet the Mets. No. I'm talking about
Meet the Mets is a great anthem.
Well, Meet the Mets, but that's like that's an old school one. They have
Who Let the Dogs Out?
The Strokes singing a song
they have
about
the Strokes. They have the Strokes wrote a Mets anthem.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful and artistic. It'll bring a tear to your eye. I swear.
No. The best song is a Sixers song.
Well, the Sixers song is like a disco party.
Yeah, any anthem that was written after 1977 is not as good as a Sixers song. I don't know if the new show has it ready to go, but I can sing it for you.
You don't know the words.
76ers, everybody.
No,
Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks.
No.
None of those words are actually in there, but as a kid, that's how I sang it.
No, it's like this disco vibe when the Sixers win a song.
And it's the amazing thing about the Sixers anthem. It starts playing with about a minute left in the game.
Yeah, this one. It's like everyone should be wearing overalls, just like
it's like the
dancing
dance
on a
scene
light up floor
in Boogie Nights when Mark Wahlberg is dancing.
in a coked up rage.
Sixers.
Okay, now you were worried about everyone getting the Creed song stuck in their head.
This
but
is
you're
better.
willing to put this out to America. And now you're going to have people at the water cooler all day just in Wichita being like, clap your hands. What did you do? I blame that on you.
Play the song, Maggie. That's what we say in Philadelphia when the Sixers are winning a regular season game. Doesn't happen as much in the playoffs.
Got to get them all into the regular season because the playoffs are going out in the second round. 855-212-4CBS. Thank you, Andrew Bogish. Enjoy the rest of your morning. Thank you. Got a lot more to do, including the one thing Perloff and I cannot agree upon when it comes to the NFL. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. We do this every Monday. It's time to own up to what we got wrong.
Even we can't be right all the time.
Samsonite. I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Time for Maggie and Perloff to own up.
Well, mine's easy. I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. I don't feel great about that today after they got smoked 42-10 to San Francisco. We know the NFC, they're most likely to face San Francisco maybe again in the playoffs, and I'm not expecting a different result. So San Francisco looks like the best team in the NFL, hands down. Sorry to your Eagles. I was wrong about the Cowboys. Big
Yeah,
round.
long way to go, though.
Yeah.
I would not count that pick out. You were right about your Jaguars, at least, on the other side of the ball.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
I have a few things to pick about where I was wrong. We do 3 picks on Fridays. One of mine was the Patriots over the Saints. I knew that was wrong in about, 35 seconds into the game. I'm like, oops, this is not good. I mean, what happened? Derek Carr was on his last life last week, and all of a sudden he looked perfectly fine. I don't understand what happened. I thought the desperation was going to push the Patriots to their best game at home. And the fact that it was the exact opposite of that is very telling.
The Patriots are in major trouble, major question marks about Bill Belichick's future. And I was the last person, that's another one I got wrong. I was the last person to note, to really believe that Belichick is probably looking at his last season in Foxborough. I mean, if it doesn't get better, I don't know how you can keep him around. And this is crazy because these coaches at the end, like I wasn't alive for the end of like Tom Landry, or I wasn't a coherent football fan at the time. Watching coaches lose their fastball like this, it can be jarring, especially a coach who had such dominance like Belichick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, we might be seeing the beginning of it in Alabama. It happened with Bobby Bowden in Florida State. I mean, Joe Paterno was a whole different thing.
Yeah, that was.
But he was, as a football coach, he started going downhill. It happens inevitably. I mean, I'm not, the funny thing is I've been telling you all year the Patriots are a disaster. Belichick's gone. I wouldn't put it at 100, though. There is a scenario where they bring in a new quarterback next year and give him a shot. Are we positive?
And maybe a GM.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Are we positive the next coach is going to be any better with this roster? Probably not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that, Belichick, the personnel man, this has been also a failure, and it's definitely on his watch. And it's been a rough go as far as roster building. And you always think that Belichick is knows better than anybody, like the Patriots would cut a guy and be like, oh, well, or trade somebody. It's like, well, he must be really bad, because Bill always knows. And I don't think we can say that anymore.
Well, they did set it up. So next year they have all their free agent money. There was a lot of thinking, they're giving away coming this year, because they didn't really sign any wide receivers. They got Juju, and that was it. So some people in New England said, okay, this is a limbo year, and they know they don't have it.
Okay,
and they have so much cap space and a draft pick next year, so maybe they could turn around quickly.
Okay, but think about the teams that always spend a lot of cap space. It's that's not usually, the way you want to build your team. You want to be building it through the draft, not all these Band-Aids and
No,
stuff.
you have cap space because you stink.
Yeah, right. Great. Ryan, you got a big thing wrong. Am I right about that?
To say the least. I thought the Broncos were going to have a bounce-back year this year, make
Wow.
the playoffs because of Sean Payton. That's been wrong for really since week 1. But I really thought with Sean Payton's words about Nathaniel Hackett, Zach Wilson coming to town, no way they'll lose at home in the snow-cap uniforms to the Jets.
Yeah.
Those uniforms were gorgeous. They looked like Oklahoma State, but Yeah, I mean, the Broncos, they do seem to find new lows every week, which is interesting.
I think it's crazy. And Perloff doesn't think that Sean Payton is to blame for everything.
Both Ryan and I were a little bit wrong, too. I was a little bit wrong. Ryan was very wrong about Kentucky, Georgia. I said that Kentucky would give them a game. I did say, since it's in Georgia, there's no way they win that game. I think, Ryan, did you predict the Wildcats to win?
I may have said upset outright.
So I got to tell you, though,
Wow.
as bad as that game was, though, it was one of those games where 2 or 3 things went wrong early, then Georgia gets a lead. Forget it. It was Kentucky, like Liam Cohen could not call his game at all because they were trailing by, 35 points. Anyway, moving
that's
on.
not exactly right where you want them when you're trailing by 35.
It was
down
so
21-0 right away. Not great.
Yeah, that's not when you're going against Georgia, that's not where you want to be, down 21-0.
Pete, anything you want to own up to?
Not yet. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of
Well, listen, Pete's just perfect. We all know that. I mean, listen, you can't improve on perfection. Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots! He scores!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. Today's shot of the day, a little snapshot of the show, came from our conversation about Brock Purdy's parents. They own a hot tub company. Brock Purdy's parents apparently own a hot tub store.
Yeah, and I feel like they'd be a fun time in a hot tub, too. No, that sounds way wrong. Yeah, it did.
You want to hang out with Brock Purdy's parents in a hot tub? What?
Definitely, by the way. They seem fascinating. I think there's a huge backstory there with Mr. Purdy. This sounds like a 70s party house.
What if he was conceived in a hot tub in Arizona and now becomes a pro quarterback? You start to copy that plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty much a given. There we go. Are we going to get that level of detail with Brock Purdy and his parents? Probably not. But maybe the hot tub business is booming in Arizona. It's 120 degrees there during the day, but sure.
I think they're a very religious family, by the way.
Is
in
that
fact,
true?
I'm almost certain of that. So,
right.
yeah, I don't think it's exactly what I imagined. Because I did remember something I think Brock Purdy's like very young and on the verge of, I don't know, he has a girlfriend, I think, and I know he lives with another lineman. They keep making that a big story.
He's got a roommate. Okay, but here's the thing. You can still be religious and still fornicate in a hot tub.
Really?
I think so.
Well,
where in the Bible does it say you can fornicate in a hot tub?
You could do that with your wife, but I was picturing a 70s style hot tub party with all sorts of people and things happening and robes. And
wow. Powders.
Mustaches.
Smoking jackets.
All right. Listen, I think it's fine to think about that. You could see it.
There's a line in Seinfeld where George and Jerry are discussing why they can't be threesome people.
Yeah, right. The thick carpeting.
Yeah. And I think George or Jerry says, you'd have to wear a smoking jacket.
A robe all day. I don't know. We're going to get to know a lot more about Brock Purdy. Meanwhile, Brock Purdy now staunchly in the MVP conversation to many people after what he did and what he's continued to do. I mean, last night was a big test because they've taken the Cowboys out of the playoffs the last 2 years, the 49ers, that is, because Purdy has been such like a, incredible story. Last night, he was efficient. He was getting the ball exactly where it needed to be. He takes shots when he needs to. He can put it in tight windows, even though he doesn't have to very often. I do not think he's an MVP yet because look at all the weapons on the 49ers. I mean, how do you pick an MVP out of this bunch, which is just stellar talent all around?
Yeah, it's called you give it to the quarterback, Maggie. It's how it's always been, and it will always be. So, okay, if you don't think he's an MVP candidate, you think he's top 15 candidates, top 20, or just would you put McCaffrey ahead of him?
You asked me before if I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the league for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, what'd you come up with?
I think he's right on the cusp because you obviously have, let's do a little back of the envelope here. You've got Mahomes.
Right.
You've got Josh Allen, even though he's coming off of a bad game. But you've got Allen. You've got Lamar Jackson. You've got
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert by the numbers, but
he's good.
He's good. You've got.
Did you do Tua?
Tua's definitely there. So now we're all of a sudden at 5. I already had Lamar. Who am I missing?
Did you have Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts. I guess do you have to put Jared Goff in there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where it's kind of splitting hairs with Jared Goff and Brock Purdy now.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's he's a top 10-ish quarterback.
Well, we're forgetting a few guys in there.
And Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Dak.
Who knows what Deshaun Watson actually is? We feel like we haven't seen a lot of him. There's a lot of guys. Aaron Rodgers, is he still in your... I guess he doesn't make the list anymore.
Not this year.
Matthew Stafford. I mean, Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford's not a top 10 quarterback right now.
Ooh, I don't know. He throws a gorgeous football.
He does, but he also has a penchant to turn the ball over, especially in the second halves of these games.
Yeah, but if that
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. But if Stafford's team was good, he'd be fine at quarterback.
Yeah, he would be, but he's also dealing with, I mean, he's coming off of, I think, a pretty big injury. He's still a good quarterback who can throw a great ball, but is he consistently a top 10 quarterback right now? I don't
Probably
think so.
not. But if his team was good, oh, yeah, he'd be sweet.
Did we mention Trevor Lawrence?
A lot of this has to do with system. Come on. Let's be honest. A lot of the guys you mentioned above, hey, Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick. He's in Cleveland. What is he doing now? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Hurts, as long as they keep running that play, and he was carrying the ball yesterday. By the way, the brotherly shove, the tush push, just wait. They're getting rid of this thing.
They're trying.
And I think that the Eagles ran it so often yesterday, they were trying to make a point. It was like, you're going to take this away from us. We're going to run it as many times as we possibly can before it gets outlawed.
Absolutely. It is the central part of their game plan, which is so weird. They're like, just get the 3rd and 1, and we move the chains. It's incredible. If they take it away, I'm downgrading the Eagles 2 losses.
Taking them out of the Super Bowl conversation.
It is their secret weapon. That's why I watched last night and I thought, oh my God, San Francisco's unbeatable. But we have the tush push.
Whatever makes you sleep at night. Thank you to Ryan Hickey. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Andrew Bogish, to Andrew Kaplan. Thank you to the Weedos and the coffee drinkers, also the callers. We will be back tomorrow. Got so much to do. Enjoy the rest of your day. We're out.
You're in a 5-minute break.